Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 2023 high school football season continues tonight for teams around the state of Ohio. We have 11 games scheduled, and our focus will be on Lorain County. Here are the top stories heading into Week 8. Oberlin was forced to cancel its game this week due to injuries and not enough kids to play. Avon Lake is on the road battling Olmsted Falls in a heavyweight battle in the Southwestern Conference. Finally, will Clearview and Columbia live up to all the hype? The Fox 8 Friday night touchdown, game of the week, the Cleveland Browns, game of the week, and WOBL's game of the week. And as always, we will break down all 5 conferences, including the Southwestern Conference, the Lorain County 8 League, the Great Lakes Conference, the Lake Erie League, and finally, the Sandusky Bay Conference. 2 teams remain undefeated as Avon and Columbia look to remain perfect tonight. Avon is ranked number 3 in Division 2, and Columbia is ranked number 10 in Division 6 state polls. 2 teams are still playing for win number 1 as Elyria and Oberlin are winless. We have breaking news coming out of Oberlin as the Phoenix will have to wait another week at a chance for a victory due to a lack of healthy players, resulting in tonight's game versus Wellington being canceled. Playoff points and conference titles are up for grabs as area teams fight for their chance to make a postseason run. 12 of the 17 teams in Lorain County are in if the season ended today. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Buckeye Community Bank, Slimans in Amherst, the Nord Center, Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, Zabel Apparel Company, Valley Chevrolet of Wellington, Alan Januzzi, CPA, Lorain County Community College, Brian Victor of Howard Hanna, Lorain County Clerk of Courts, Tom Orlando, Justin Miller, Esquire, Lorain County Prosecutor, J.D. Tomlinson, Ernie's Auto Body, Lorain County Recorder, Mike Duran, Giovanna Bremke, Achieve Credit Union, Kevin Brubaker, Erie's Market, Mental Health and Recovery Services in Lorain County, Honeydude's Handyman Service, Lorain County Commissioner David Moore, Barber and Black in Sheffield Lake, Lorain County Visitors Bureau, I-90 Nissan in Sheffield Village, Jones Bones Barbecue and Grub, Ross Environmental Services, Music's Auto Care, Lang Optical, and Janasco Insurance. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dave Rivera, and welcome to the local portion of the pregame show brought to you by Slimans in Amherst, where customers send their friends. Here is the schedule for Week 8 in Lorain County. In the Southwestern Conference, Berea Mid-Park is at North Ridgeville, Avon Lake is at Olmsted Falls, Midview is at Avon, Amherst is at Elyria in the Lorain County Friday Night Lights game of the week. In the Lorain County 8 League, New London is at Wellington, Black River is at Brookside, Keystone is at Firelands, and our Lorain County Sports Network game of the week that you can watch live and free on YouTube. Clearview is at Columbia in our WOBL game of the week. In the Great Lakes Conference, Rocky River is at Elyria Catholic. In the Sandusky Bay Conference, Vermilion is at Huron. And in the Lake Erie League, Shaw is at Lorain in our WDLW game of the week. On WOBL Radio, it's a Lorain County 8 showdown between the Clearview Clippers and the Columbia Raiders, live from Columbia Raiders Field. Join Gary Tollett and Brian DeVito on the call. Then on WDLW Radio, it's a Lake Erie League clash between the Shaw Cardinals and the Lorraine Titans, live from George Daniel Field. Join Don Guzik and Rick Soto with all the action. And new this year, you can watch a different team each week live on our free video stream on YouTube at Lorain County Sports Network. Tonight, it's the Keystone Wildcats traveling to Firelands to take on the Falcons from Firelands Field. Join John Guzik and Mike Rush live on YouTube. Don't forget to tune in after the final whistle of your game for the Postgame Scoreboard Show presented by Achieve Credit Union. Streaming live on Facebook at WOBL WDLW Sports. Kickoff is just around the corner after this timeout. Enjoy the game. I'll see you at halftime on the Lorain County Sports Network, WOBL and WDLW.
Great game against defending champ and still undefeated Columbia. We're expecting more of the same, so let's check in first of all with the head coach of tonight's opponent for the Falcons. We talk with Keystone's Don Griswold.
Coach, thanks for taking a few minutes with us to get ready for tonight's game. Can we go back a little bit first, though, and give us a concerned community a little update on your star player, Zach Shackelford, who we lost early in the season?
Zach is progressing on schedule, on time. He is out of a cast, and he's in a walking boot. He's got his little scooter that he scoots around on the hallways of the high school. Transition to a boot, which is good sign. His incision, which is quite long, is healing well. So he's right on track. He'll be available probably midpoint of the basketball season, and hopefully in time for the track season.
Well, you used the word transition there, and certainly, you know, when a guy goes down, you want to have that next step mentality. But when you have a talent like Zach, certainly the team, the coaching staff spent literally hours and hours, days and days on end building a game plan around his talent. And when you lose that, what kind of adjustments did you have to make?
It's a great question. And this year it was substantial because we don't have a natural backup quarterback. And so we have a senior by the name of Paul Horton, who is a natural wide receiver for us, understands the offense forward and backward, but not a prototypical quarterback. And so we've had to change and adapt and find our footing. It's really been a process over the last 5-6 weeks. Yeah, when you have an offense that's built on triple option spread, a quarterback that can run and throw, you don't just plug and play another student athlete. So it's been a process internally, externally. It's been a process changing some roles within our team, slowly figuring it out and what we can do well and what we cannot do well. Having Paul feel comfortable throwing the ball, feel comfortable back in that saddle, so to speak. So we've been making progress. Our offensive production has been going up. Had a breakout last week at Brookside. Yeah, it's definitely a process and can be quite frustrating at times.
Well, let's talk first of all. You mentioned that Paul's a senior, but who are some of your other veteran players that have helped maintain the team's evenness through this to get up to this level over the course of the season?
Yeah, that's a great question. One I haven't been asked yet this year. You know, first of all, the kids have been great. They come to work, they work hard, they're fun to be around. We have a high level of leadership on this team. Other than Paul, Paul's a phenomenal leader. Senior Caden Stuyvesant, who is very important to our competitive success. He's keeping us even keeled. Junior Grady Whitaker, who starts on both sides of the ball, has been a phenomenal leader. Mason Padine, who's a lineman, an O and D lineman for us, has exhibited great leadership. So those three guys, more than anybody, but collectively, they have been even keeled. They haven't been outwardly frustrated, although we've all been internally frustrated or, played the what-if game or any of those other unhelpful things. So I'm really proud of the way our team has responded to a slew of injuries. We lost Landon Whitaker to a torn ACL. He and Zach were awesome week one for us offensively. Landon can play a lot of positions. We got guys out with COVID. So there's not been a shortage of adversity this season, but like I said, our guys have responded at a high level.
Talking Keystone football with head coach Don Griswold here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Continue on, Coach. You mentioned last week kind of a breakthrough for your offense. You guys put up a good number of points against the Brookside team. Who were the keys to making the end zone be more of a possibility this past week?
Yeah, no, it's not just coach speak, but it's the offensive line. We've had a lot of injuries up front too, and we've been shuffling a lot of guys around. We started a freshman at right tackle last week, but collectively as a group, those guys really got clicking, especially in the second half. Got the ground game on track. We're able to rush for 200 yards. Paul had his best throwing night since he was thrust into the quarterback position, threw for around 80, 90 yards, which is not statistically going to jump out at you, but it does open things up in a run game. And our running backs, we have a 1-2 punch with Caden Stuyvesant and Lucas Hurley, and they both are physical runners, downhill runners, and certainly felt good to get that running game and the offense as a whole going.
And the great thing about the expanded playoffs is even though it's been a little tougher season to get the W's, you have a chance here at the end of the year to work your way up into the postseason, and it starts, of course, tonight playing a very tough Firelands team, and certainly their defense is going to present some obstacles for you. So how do you prepare for the Falcons?
We love playing our friends over at Firelands. Much respect to their administration and their head coach, Ryan O'Rourke. We always have good games with them. This is an old rivalry that goes back many decades. They're a well-coached team. They're physical up front. They've got athletes on the edges, senior quarterback offensively, fly around defensively, just all around a solid ball team. So, we're going to have to play within ourselves, certainly, and we're going to have to play well. We've been playing extremely well on the defensive side of the ball. We got to continue our positive trajectory on offense, and it's going to come down to penalties and turnovers and who can execute. So I'm really looking forward to tonight's game,
because we're looking forward to it too. Thanks, Coach Don Griswold, for giving us a great overview of what's happening tonight, and kickoff is just a few minutes away on the Lorain County Sports Network.
Our countdown to kickoff continues here on the Lorain County Sports Network. I'm John Guzik, and my partner Mike Rush will be joining us in the booth in just a few minutes. As we get ready for Firelands and Keystone, we have a few moments with our host for tonight, Firelands head coach Ryan O'Rourke, as we continue on the Buckeye Community Bank Coach's Corner.
Coach O'Rourke, thanks for taking a few minutes to speak with us before tonight's game. Let's talk a minute about last week's game. Your defense gave that Clearview Clipper offense as much trouble as they've had all year long.
Yeah, I think, our defense has been playing really well, really up until this point this year, and kept us in that game. And, I think we had our chances, but ultimately fell up short.
What do you think was the turning point or the ultimate difference in that game? Obviously, a 3-point game, it could have gone either way at any time.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around the end of the second quarter. We had a touchdown called back and weren't able to capitalize when we were, I think, on the 2-yard line when we had a holding call. And had to settle for a field goal, and points were at a premium this game, and certainly it was tough to kind of climb back and get some momentum on our side. I thought Clearview did a nice job of kind of keeping that momentum and really kind of stopping us in the second half.
The record shows 3-4 at this point as you go into the final stretch, but I can't imagine there's another team in your division that would want to play you guys. I mean, you guys are as hard and out as anyone, and yet you've been battling and battling. The record's a little bit short right now, but you still control your own destiny going through the end of the season.
With those 4 losses, I think we lost to 4 really good football teams, and obviously there's no real moral victories in football, but I think we are a good football team that's close. I just think we need to kind of continue to improve. I know that's coach speak, but I think we're seeing it, and really just want to finish strong for these seniors and this team.
Well, we've seen from you guys. I mean, you guys gave a great game against Columbia, and the defense played outstanding, especially in the first half of that game. And then we talked about how your defense held back a Clearview high-powered offense last week. So are there things you can work on that would help the offense develop and maybe have a little more output here going into the final stretch?
To me, we've had some games offensively where we kind of show what we're capable of. In each of our wins, I think we've been over 30 points. So for me, it's just consistency. I think times where we really show that consistency, and you can kind of see it with the scoreboard. But there's also times where we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, put ourselves in some off-schedule situations, and really kind of slow down a little bit. So to me, it's all about finding a rhythm and confidence, and just kind of continuing that for 4 quarters. Because I think we've put together some good halves in the games that we've come up short, and have not been able to sustain it. So really just finding that rhythm and continuing it into the second half.
I'm talking about controlling your own destiny. I mean, obviously the playoff situation lines itself up very well, that the Falcons take care of business here the last 3 weeks, and there'll be more weeks after that potentially.
Yeah, it's for our kids, I think it's always, a positive thing that you can let them know that, you're playing meaningful games late in the season. And yeah, our kids certainly understand that they have an opportunity to extend their season, but I think at the same time they understand they have a big challenge coming up.
And we'll talk about that challenge here with Coach Ryan O'Rourke with the Firelands Falcons as we're getting ready for kickoff at the top of the hour. That big challenge seems to have grown bigger the last couple of weeks after Keystone certainly had their struggles on offense because of major injury early in the year. And from seeing the scoreboard and talking to others in the conference, it seems that they're kind of finding their footing on offense as the season progresses. So what does your defense have to do to continue to hold this team down the way you've held other teams down?
Keystone absolutely has, shown improvement over the last few weeks. We know, Keystone's been a really good football team, the last handful of years, and it's certainly going to be a big challenge. And, for us defensively, it's, week to week, obviously you're preparing for specific things, and we know Keystone wants to run the football this season, and if our kids stay locked in on what they're going to be seeing, and stay confident, that's a big thing. After a tough loss, that we can put ourselves in some good positions this week. But our kids certainly know it's going to be a challenge against Keystone.
Coach, you mentioned earlier about the seniors on your team and trying to finish strong, and then talking about what you need to do this week. So let's put some names with some of those guys you'll be looking for to lead the charge on either side or both sides of the ball for this week.
Yeah, in a game like this, it really has to start up front, with our offensive line, Noah Angle, CJ Gillis, Clifford Stahl, Braden Rowley, Brandon Atkins. If we can set a tone and maintain that, I think we can have some good success. And, some of those seniors we're talking about on the outside with, Kevin Williams, Liam Varndell, Tristan Bourne, Logan Urban. We've got to find ways to get those kids the ball on the perimeter. That starts with me and, our senior quarterback, Jimmy Onspaw. All those kids I mentioned are also significant contributors defensively. If we can set a tone up front early, and we know Keystone likes to do a similar style of football, so it's certainly going to be kind of a real battle, in my opinion, for these guys up front this week.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. Like Keystone team that's been coming the last couple of weeks. We got this Firelands team that really put a great game on our earlier in the year, fighting for playoff position. So we expect a big battle coming up at the top of the hour. Thank you, Coach O'Rourke, for spending a few minutes on the Coach's Corner as we get ready for kickoff on the Lorain County Sports Network.
Firelands High School on the Lorain County Sports Network, where we are now officially 8 for 8. We've had 8 Friday nights of high school football and 8 beautiful evenings, and tonight's contest here in Henrietta Township is just the same as they've all been. Thank goodness, especially knowing what the weather was last night, what the weather's probably going to be tomorrow morning. We are going to fit this one in perfectly, and glad to have you along as the Lorain County Sports Network is production of the WOBL WDLW Sports Department. And we've got 2 great games going on those airwaves tonight, which we'll talk about in a minute. I'll talk to my partner Mike Rush in just a few minutes as well. My name's John Guzik, and happy to have you along on the inaugural season of the Lorain County Sports Network. Tonight it's Firelands against Keystone in what has ended up being a very great matchup with a lot on stake for both teams. Maybe 3 weeks ago we didn't quite think this might be as good a matchup as it is, but it's not only become that more of a tight matchup that we'll talk about in just a few minutes, but with that beautiful night for football, we're ready to go. This is the Slimans and Amherst pregame show, as we do each and every week, and the Firelands band is on the field right now as the cheerleaders bring out the banner and get ready to welcome the team on the field. We just had our national anthem played by the band, and our national anthem brought to you each week by Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson. Reminds you to stay safe, Lorain County. It is Keystone and Firelands, and we'll have the lineups and everything else to go along with tonight's game in just a minute. But we had the coin toss just a few minutes ago, and we'll let you know that it will be Keystone starting the game with the ball. Firelands did win the coin toss, but they deferred, and we'll let Keystone take the ball off the bat to start this game. We had captains out there tonight from Keystone were Paul Horton and Grady Whitaker, as well as Caden Stuyvesant. And they had a guy out on a scooter that you don't see too often in high school football, but Zach Shackelford's still very much a part of this team and was out there for the coin toss as one of the season-long captains as well, as we had Coach Don Griswold talking about him before the game. And that coin toss brought to you by the Lorain County Convention and Visitors Bureau, where they're celebrating 200 years together. And we always like recognizing, of course, a lot of times the captains are guys that we're going to talk about throughout the game because those are a lot of times the skill players and things like that. Captains out there for Firelands tonight was their starting quarterback is Jim Onspall. Logan Urban's going to be a name you'll hear right off the bat because Firelands will be on defense, and we hear his name a lot on defense. And their other captain tonight was another senior, one of the linemen, Colin Adkins. And our captain's brought to you by Lorain County Commissioner David Moore. David Moore running in 24. So let's get ready for tonight's game. We're just a few minutes before kickoff here, and bring in our partner Mike Rush to talk about what he believes has broken down for you during the week. What are the keys to tonight?
Game for you here in the league, and we'll start with Keystone. They've had a great week of practice. Talking to some of their coaches here on the field before the game, they said great week of practice, probably their best week of practice of the year. So now they got to try to put it together and play a complete game tonight. How are they going to do that? There's no secret they want to run the ball, right? They want to run the football. They got to try to impose their will up front, and really no mistakes. You got to limit the turnovers, the penalties. You know, their offense is coming along. It's getting better, but they're not equipped to overcome those mistakes right now. For Firelands, it's kind of a bounce-back week for them. Tough loss last week to Clearview. How do they bounce back? Very stakes. They got to stay away from the mistakes. They got to stay on schedule with their offense. And really, these two teams, very similar. Whatever team imposes their will tonight and avoid
week in and week out, but you don't have that luxury of the errors. And Firelands gave us a great game when we were here a couple of weeks ago against Columbia. An emotional game last week. If you missed that, I mean, I equate this a little bit to like that Ohio State Notre Dame game. Anytime you have a 3-point game that's extremely well played, it was a very similar score. You know, it doesn't take anything away from the team that came up 3 points short. They're awful good. But the emotions that you have to come down after that game for Firelands to kind of have to, regroup and refocus on this last couple of weeks of the year. But the great thing for the Firelands team is they've got a lot to focus on as they come in the Region 14 of Division 4. They're number 11, and the top 16 will make the playoffs. And they have really, they have 2 teams that are on the bottom half of the conference that they'll finish the season with. So they're kind of working their way through. And one of those games is supposed to be Oberlin, which we'll talk about throughout the night because Oberlin's not playing tonight. will they be able to play next week? And if they do a no contest as well, then how does that affect computer points? But these Keystone Wildcats, despite the 2-5 record, they have a very nice path to the playoffs still potentially, as one of the teams in front of them is a team they beat handily last week, is Brookside. So that will get them points to move up if they can continue winning. And then they finish the season the same way Firelands does against Wellington and Oberlin. So those are looking at winnable games. So whoever comes out of this game tonight will probably, in essence, control their own destiny for playoffs. So keys to the game brought to you by Mahar's Mental Health and Recovery Services of Lorain County. Be there for mental health and recovery. We mentioned that we've got Firelands starting on defense, so let's start with the starting lineups, which are brought to you by Kevin Brubaker. Brubaker for mayor, and we're going to have the Firelands defense with 3 up front. It's going to be Noah Angle, Colin Adkins, and Patrick Geist across the front. The linebackers on the inside will be Josh Kovach and Colin Scott, with Michael Lewis and Aiden Fortner on the outside. In their backfield, they've got Kevin Williams and Devin Lynn on the outside. Their safeties are Tristan Bourne. We saw Tristan come up with some big plays when we were here against Columbia. And besides him in the backfield is Logan Urban, who comes into tonight's game as the leading tackler in the entire county with 93 tackles, including 44 solos. So that's quite an accomplishment to make going into week 8, to have the most tackles in the league. We're going to come out with the Keystone offense. They're going to start with senior quarterback Paul Horton. We mentioned earlier in the coach's corner, Paul, not necessarily a pure quarterback, throwing for 80, 90 yards last week was a big number for them. And that tells you you're going to rely a lot on the running backs. And those running backs are going to be Caden Stuyvesant, who's a 5'10", 175 senior. He's got 305 yards rushing and has been in the end zone a couple times this year. Caden also has 8 receptions on the season. And with him in the backfield will be Lucas Hurley, a junior. He's 5'11", 180. He's got 481 yards on the season and has found the end zone twice. Tyler Ohl will start at tight end. And Grady Whitaker, Caleb Scott are going to be names you're going to be hearing on the outside. Up front for Keystone, Jordan Fulmer is going to be in the middle. He's a 5'11 junior. On either side of him at the guards are going to be Alex Sperling on the left, Mason Padina on the right side of him. And on the outside tackles, it's going to be Caden Johnson and Chase Hosey for Keystone, wearing the white jerseys with the purple pants and the white helmets. And you see Firelands has the ball teed up on the tee already, ready to go here with Rocco Iafola going to make the kickoff here with Firelands wearing all red uniforms with their white helmets and white piping and striping and numbers. Starting lineups again brought to you by Kevin Brubaker. 63 beautiful degrees tonight as our game time conditions. Flag is just limp in the southern end zone as we have no wind and mostly clear skies as Iafola kicks it off and gets this game underway. And the opening kickoff goes into the end zone. Opening kickoff brought to you by Lorain County Community College, where you kick off your future with LCCC. I mentioned those game time forecast conditions, 63 degrees. I mentioned to Coach Griswold, we were down on the field, the rain last night makes it almost perfect conditions. It's dried up enough today, and it was dry enough before. It just kind of softens up the field, gives some good grip. Hopefully also limit any chance of injury as we might get into this game as well.
Yeah, really interested to watch this Keystone offense, the way they've had to reinvent themselves with the injury to Shackelford here.
And they started to do that. It's kind of been an evolution over the course of the year. And they put up a lot of points last week. Here we go. This is Horton in the backfield in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Guess what? He's going to hand off. Going to go right up the middle and not getting much there. Maybe about a yard.
Ball carrier. Stopped by number 34, Joshua Kovach.
And the first carry of the game.
2nd and 9.
They're giving it, I saw a 27 out there. I don't have it on my roster. It's on my depth chart. Lucas Hurley. Oh, you know what it is? It's Hurley and Taylor were alternating numbers home and away. So 27 is Hurley tonight. He's got a yard on the first down play as we're underway here at Firelands. Second down play. Trips right. Single wide receiver left. That's a interesting formation for a run first team, and they're running on the second down as well. Fighting up the middle is Hurley again. Gets a couple more.
Stop 73, Patrick Geist.
Mark him at the 23-yard line.
3rd and 7.
Yeah, and already you'll see Keystone faced with a key third down, a 3rd and long situation they don't want to be in here. They want to pass the ball when they want to pass the ball, not when they have to pass the ball.
I definitely understand, you want to keep the defense guessing. Sometimes you just want to spread them out. But with that front line and those inside linebackers for Firelands, sending those receivers out that far doesn't really help them. Here's a pitch right on 3rd down, and it's Hurley again. He's trying to make the corner. Spins out of a tackle, but he's going to come short of the first down. Brought down at the 27-yard line. So Hurley for 3 rushes for 7 yards on the opening drive, and going to bring up a punting situation for Keystone on their first drive of the game.
Yeah, great job by the Firelands defense with the pursuit there. Exactly what they're looking for to start the game. They don't want Keystone to be able to possess that football and run it, get off the field with a 3 and out.
First snap of the game brought to you each week by Music's Auto Care, celebrating 80 years in business. Thankfully, all of our sponsors help us get going here. Snaps a little high, but no pressure from the Firelands front line, and the ball gets a good bounce. Now Firelands touched it looked like. Not sure why. One of those mental errors. If there was contact, if it was definitely a Keystone jersey that got on top of it, it appeared to be touch. Officials are going to talk about it. They're both pointing north, which means it would be Firelands ball. So hard to tell from this angle as we're just watching, obviously, the reaction, but looks like it is going to be Firelands football, and they're going to start at the 46-yard line for their first series of the game with 10:08 to go here in the first quarter, just underway, 1 drive in. And last time we were here against Columbia, a very staunch defense, Firelands took that first drive of the game and literally marched right down the field. Unfortunately, they didn't score the rest of that game. So let's see if they've got a similar game plan this week against Keystone.
Yeah, quarterback Jimmy Onspaw back, second-year starter, a lot more comfortable in the offense this year.
Motion coming in, but as a blocking back and then gets a handoff, goes just off the left side. That's Colin Scott taking the first carry of the game, just about to midfield. Call it a gain of 4.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of pulling linemen from Firelands, a lot of kick-out blocks with motion like you saw there, trying to kick out the edge defender.
2nd and 6 right at the midfield stripe for the Firelands Falcons on their first drive of the game. Onspaw gets snapped. This time he's keeping it, looking left. Nothing there. Now he's got pressure, and he's going to run right to avoid it. Has more pressure coming from that side, and he's finally brought down for a sack. That was Alex Sperling who put him away, but I tell you what, getting in the backfield was Caden Johnson with a couple of his pals that flushed Onspaw out of the pocket and forced him right and back to the 44-yard line. Is going to make it a loss of 6 and bring up 3rd and long.
Yeah, great job by the Keystone defense. They weren't fooled on the play-action fake. They had it covered in the back end and allowed time for their pressure to get there.
And here's another passing opportunity. Onspaw rolls left, but then shoots it back right. And it's Scott getting it right about the line of scrimmage and taking it forward again to midfield, but going to be well short of a first down and bring up a decision-making early here in the game for Firelands. So we're back to the 50-yard line after that first completed pass of the game. You know, we talk about the defensive lineman putting the pressure on the quarterback and getting the sack, but got to recognize the defensive backs for Keystone because Onspaw clearly looked for his primary receiver who was covered, which is why he had to react. Firelands is going to punt it away. It's Scott doing the punt. He gets off a beautiful punt to his right and signaled for a fair catch and caught it at about the 10. But then getting tackled down is going to be a penalty. It's going to help out. I mean, that was a clear fair catch signal from our vantage point up here. And so that's going to be our first penalty of the game, which is going to really get out of a hole for Keystone. Unfortunate spot for them. Right at the 14 is where the fair catch was. And I believe that's going to be a 15-yarder.
Yeah, it looked like the bobble by the punt returner kind of maybe threw off the Firelands player trying to dislodge it.
Just say, yep. So penalty on Firelands. Now they'll move the ball. So it was at the 14. So that was a nice 36-yard punt that would have been with no return by Scott. But instead of being backed up inside the red zone, they're going to come all the way out to the 29-yard line. So 15-yard penalty. After 2 3-and-outs, Keystone gets the first break of the game and see if they can take advantage. Snap comes to Horton. He hands off to the left side this time. Maybe about 3 yards across the 30 to about the 33-yard line.
Yeah, we talked about Keystone, again, their evolution this year offensively. Coach Griswold talked about it in the coach's corner. You know, they've been getting better. Last week was probably their best week offensively, and see if they can build off that momentum here against a very good Firelands defense.
Still looking for that first down of the game. 8:13 to go, first quarter. Keystone on their second possession of this contest. Twin receivers split out to the right. Horton takes the handoff, gives it to Hurley, gets some running room, and gets that first down of the game as he gets across the 40.
Stop by number 21, Logan Irvin.
Give him a gain of 8 on that one. Oh, we can put it at the 42, so a gain of 9, and the first down of the game. Keystone trying to get some momentum going here on offense. We talked about they started coming out of their shell a little bit last week against Brookside.
Yeah, both teams very strong up front. It's really strength for strength here for both teams.
Snap comes back to Horton, hands off again, left side, running up the middle. Gets right to the 45-yard line for a gain of 3 more. Mentioned we've got great games tonight. We are an outreach of the WOBL WDLW Sports Department, and WDLW is in Lorraine tonight on Oberlin Avenue as the Titans, having our best season in many, many years, are hosting Shaw. Don Vincent on the call over there. And Clearview and Columbia tonight. What a matchup that is. You can listen to that on our sister radio station, WOBL, at any time this evening as well. And we'll try to get you updates from both of those games and around the county as we go. Second down for Keystone. This time it's a pitch left. It's Hurley again. He's trying to make that corner, but really good pursuit, not only by the linebackers, but the cornerbacks reading that to come up for Firelands. I got a bevy of red jerseys that I couldn't pick a number out of from here, but nice job of not letting them be able to turn the corner, but it does bring up 3rd and 2, and it's exactly where Keystone wants to be, is in short 3rd down yardage after a gain of 5.
And so far, Keystone's gone with the 2-back look. The fullback, Stuyvesant, he's really, wherever he goes, that's where the football is going. So Firelands defense has to key that fullback, and he's taking you directly to the ball.
We got receivers split left. We got a couple of backs on either side of Horton in the backfield. And now that's in motion to the left as Horton goes to throw, and he's throwing that way. There is a flag down. Ball's a little over his head as it's defended out there on the side by Tristan Bourne. Number 11 is for the Firelands, staying with the receiver. But we got a flag that you saw what you...
Yeah, they're going to get the fullback Stuyvesant on a legal motion. He was going upfield before the ball was snapped. They tried to get him into that wheel route on the sideline, and he just turned upfield. So we're going to see if Firelands is going to decline it or they're going to accept it.
Well, they're talking to each other like it would have been a first down, but it was an incomplete pass. So let's see if we can get something from our referee. Don DeRoya is in charge. So now we see the Keystone huddle move backwards. So we're going to get an illegal shift penalty that'll mark back 5 yards.
Again, an interesting play call, but it's probably a situation where it's 4-down territory. So you take a shot on 3rd and short. Only problem is you get the penalty and it pushes you back.
And it does make it 3rd and 8. Justin Miller, Esquire, serving your legal needs, brings you your referee crew, as I mentioned, headed up by Don DeRoya tonight. As we have a Lorain County League team out on the field with our 2 Lorain County League teams. Double full backfield as we got 3 running backs back there, and hands it off left side. Hand it off to McKee, who's the ball carrier on that one, and Tristan Bourne was part of the crunch that came and stood him up, got almost back to midfield. And like you said, probably 4-down territory is why they wanted to push that ball back, but now it's going to be 4th and 4.
Yeah, important to watch the ball here if you're Firelands. You don't want to jump and give them an easy first down. We'll see if Keystone has any type of hard count or on 2 that they can maybe try here.
So that they're back in this 3-back formation, and it's quick snap and pitch out to Hurley on the right side, and he is not going to make that turn. He's going to be brought up short of the first down.
Taking down a yard behind.
And we had all kind of Keystone. Devin Lynn was out there, as well as Michael Lewis, and Tristan Bourne on the field out there is with the pursuit as well. Great job by the Firelands defense. Bent a little bit, gave up the first down of the game, but gets the ball back for their offense in Keystone territory. As we're now at the 5:30 mark in the first quarter, still no score. Firelands getting their 2nd possession of the game.
Yeah, both defenses so far standing up, and we're going to see. It could be that type of game all night, kind of points maybe hard to come by. We'll see.
This is a run off to the right side. Got to the tackle area, cut it up, and got about a yard.
Ball carrier.
And that's Barry getting his first carry of the game. Called a gain of 2.
And the one thing Keystone's done all year that we've seen is, even with the injury and some of their limitations offensively, their defense has really played week in and week out. It keeps you in games, it travels, and you can see already they are sound defensively. That was a sound form tackle there. They don't beat themselves.
Yeah, they had some hiccups early in the year, which we'll talk about in just a minute as we get this second down playoff for you. And it's a run up the middle, and it's still keeping his legs moving and getting the first down of the game for the Firelands Falcons. That was not only a great job by the running back to keep his legs moving, but a great job by the entire offensive line to keep him moving forward. Eli Simmons had the ball on that one. That was one we talked about before, because all the time we had Firelands, we saw Simmons, and they gave us a roster today that said Simon. So wanted to make sure.
You never know.
It could be that I make a mistake once in a while, but that won't be the reason for it tonight. All right, first down of the game for Firelands. They're up to the 39-yard line of Keystone and snap to Onspaw, hands off to the left side this time. And again, keeping their feet moving and the legs chugging and getting out to about the 35-yard line for another 4-yard gain.
Yeah, and that's something that this Firelands offense does so well. They stay on schedule. They're constantly getting 3- and 4-yard runs due to their blocking up front, as well as the ball carriers, as you said, keeping those legs churning.
It goes back to what you said at the beginning of the game. You kind of keep things moving, but you cannot really make up for mistakes, mainly in the penalty and certainly the turnover. Here's Kevin Williams getting his first chance at the ball today, and great pursuit by the Keystone defense. They did not give him any breathing room out there. Bevy of Keystone Wildcats. I know Shane Ohl was one of the ones who was helped wrapping him up.
3rd and 8.
Great job by Keystone, and actually called a loss of 1 back to the 30, actually a loss of 2 back to the 37, and bring up a 3rd down and 8 now.
Yeah, another one of those 3rd and longs could be key to the game here, how teams convert.
And this is, we'll talk about it, see whether they have a good punter, which we saw in the first punt. That would have put them inside the 20 on the last down. So if you don't get it here, do you play field position and try to stick them in the corner, or do you go for it on 4th down because of where you are? We'll find out here. It's 3rd and 8. Onspaw's going to throw, looking left, now looking back to the right. He's got a guy wide open at the 30. Catch is made and gets out for the first down. And that is Liam Varndell getting his first touch of the ball today.
Liam Varndell.
As Varndell gets it across the first down chains and keeps the series alive for Firelands here on their second chance with the ball. They'll put the ball at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 Firelands, and 2:56 and counting here in the first quarter.
Yeah, nice throw by Onspaw. He took what the defense gave him. Receiver Varndell sits down right at the first down marker, and he makes a nice throw.
I noticed I looked up at the clock. It was already moving, and then I looked back, and the referee decides to get the clock. And this is Scott trying to get in, breaks a tackle, gets off the left side, still on his feet. Flag comes in from the back judge in a place that's probably going to be holding.
Yeah, he might get a block in the back on the receiver out there. Tough deal for a receiver there. When you see the back of the defender, you got to fight that urge to block and just kind of throw your hands up and let the official know.
Scott got it all the way down to the 15, which would have been another first down, but you see the official standing at the 23-yard line, ready to mark it off backwards. So spot foul. It's going to be an illegal use of hands on Firelands, so they'll mark it from the 23. So we're going to give a 4-yard carry for Scott.
Holding on the offense.
And then a penalty moves it back to the should be the 33 they're putting it down at, which is going to put Firelands behind the sticks, but still first down.
1st and 17.
Well, 1st and 15. Onspaw's going to look to throw. He's rolling right. He's throwing right. He's got a guy open. It's Williams. He's got the ball inside the 10 and forced out of bounds at about the 5-yard line, maybe the 4. Huge play for Firelands. And tell you what, Keystone's defenders had the zone coverage in the right spot, but when the ball went up in the air, they were much slower to react to it than Williams was. He went right to it, gets the ball, and has a first down inside the 5. A 29-yard pass play for 1st and goal for Firelands.
Yeah, I really like the route combination, kind of a vertical switch route with a wheel, with a post. Great job by Onspaw and a great catch by Williams. And now they're in business, 1st and goal.
Firelands knocking on the door here, handoff straight up the middle, and the whole pile moves through. And let's see, are we getting an assist? We got a signal for a touchdown Firelands. 4-yard run with 2:03 to go here in the first quarter makes it Firelands 6 and Keystone nothing with the extra point to come.
Yeah, you see the big play, sets up the touchdown. Big plays, hard to come by in this game, but Firelands generates the first one, and Keystone not able to make a play with the ball in the air.
Rocco Iafola looking for the extra point. Snap is down, and the kick is up, and it is good. So, on the second time they get the ball this game, Firelands goes down 49 yards and gets the lead early here against Keystone, and we'll be back with the next kickoff coming to the Wildcats as it's Firelands 7, Keystone nothing. 2:03 to go in the first quarter here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We're back here at Firelands High School where Josh Kovac just took it in from 4 yards out for the first score of the game, giving Firelands a 7-0 lead over Keystone. The Wildcats about to get the ball back. Iafola has it teed up. Kick is away. Last one went in the end zone. This one much shorter, coming at about the 14-yard line. Takes a bounce, picked up nicely. It's not an easy play to make there on the return. But done well to keep it alive and get it upfield. Nice return for Keystone.
Tripped up by 21, Logan Irvin.
You're going to see the starting position be the 21-yard line and say, it's an average starting position, but to be able to pick up that kick and move it forward as opposed to it laying around back there, it gets dangerous. So nice job by both special teams on that one. And here comes Keystone, third time of the game, starting from their 21 with 2 minutes to go first quarter.
Yeah, big drive for Keystone. Still early in the game, but again, not the type of team that you want to have play from behind, so they need a big drive here.
It's Horton in the shotgun, takes the snap, handoff, right side this time, got some running room and gets stood up at about the 24 after a gain of a couple, maybe a gain of 3 on that one.
Stevenson, the ball carrier. Number 5.
Yeah, Stuyvesant with the carry there.
We're going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot of running tonight, right? Clock keeps moving.
Yeah, you got to let those fullbacks carry the ball sometimes too. They can't always block. You got to show them some love as well.
All right, second down and 7. 24-yard line. Take snap. We're going to see a throw. We got a running back sprinting out to the right side. That was Stuyvesant. He's open and had some room to try to make something happen, but couldn't bring that one in. And it's going to bring up 3rd and long for Keystone immediately here with 1:20 to go.
Yeah, tough break for Keystone. You see Stuyvesant trying to look up and try to run before he caught it. So another 3rd and long, which we talked about. Keystone really does not want to be in here.
Last drive for Firelands was 7 plays, went 49 yards in 3 minutes and 26 seconds. So the first score to be a 4-yard run by Kovac. Now 3rd and long for Keystone. Horton surveying the defense. Takes the pass, or takes the snap, throws it out on the right. This time Stuyvesant has it and has a first down, catches it pretty much at the first down marker and advances it up to the Firelands sideline at about the 35-yard line. Nicely done, especially coming back and building confidence after that second down play fell to the turf. Keystone relying on that passing game, and what Coach Griswold said in the coach's corner about it doesn't need to be a big numbers of stats. It's picking and choosing at the right time, right?
Yeah, and nice throw by Horton, and we'll talk about him as the night goes on. But it's not easy changing positions in the middle of the year when you thought you were going to be a wide receiver to help the team.
Here, this running Wildcats team goes back to trips left, and now they got an empty backfield, and the snap gets past Horton, but he picks it up nicely, and he's going to throw left and goes above and through the hands on the left side of Caleb Scott. Falls incomplete with 1:08 to go. The clock stops here in the first quarter to bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, another, again, a kind of a negative play. They don't lose yards, but again, you want to try to stay on schedule, set yourself up for some third and shorts is what they're equipped to do here. But
we're seeing some good athleticism by Keystone. I mentioned on the kick return did it, and Horton did a nice job of not only getting the ball back quickly, but righting himself and certainly not panicking. Back to the line, though, 2nd and 10. Keystone trying to get at least out this side of the field and change the field here. This time a handoff goes over to the left guard. Just a couple of yards again, going back to that whole
27 ball carrier. Stop at
3 yards in that cloud of dust thing. That time it was Hurley.
3rd down.
Yeah, once again, just the isolation play, found the fullback. Up to the linebacker here, sets up a 3rd and about 8.
Give him 3 yards on that one, so am I going to mark out to the 38-yard line, and clock winding down here already in the first quarter. 35 seconds to go. Keystone a little sluggish coming out of the, kind of look for that almost like intimidation. We're going to run the line, we're going to push it back on you guys, but we'll see what they got here. They are running, and it is Hurley, and he's over the right side. He gets over the 40-yard line. We're going to be well short of a first down.
27 ball carrier.
Brings decision-making time for Keystone. Place the ball at the 41, so we'll call that one another gain of 3. So brings up 4th and a long 4. And Keystone going to most likely drop into punt formation, but now we're going to get the end of the first quarter.
And
so when we come back to the second quarter, we'll have a punt as Keystone will give the ball back to Firelands. The Falcons have a lead here at home on senior night. Firelands 7, Keystone nothing on the Lorain County Sports Network.
Let's meet the cheerleaders. Senior Kaylee Bombach.
Sean Guzik along with Mike Rush back here at Firelands High School, where the Falcons are about to get the ball back. They are ahead 7-0 here as we get this second quarter ready to go. Keystone got a first down on each of their last 2 drives, but nothing more than that. And they're going to kick it away here. Nice kick. Fair catch signaled again this time, but bobbled and hits the ground, but Tristan Bourne jumps all over it before anyone gets down there, so no harm, no foul. It'll be at the 25-yard line. So it's going to be a 34-yard punt with no return.
Yeah, you mentioned Keystone, looking a little, maybe sluggish in that first quarter. I think their defense really needs to try to provide them with a spark, a big hit. Obviously, a turnover would be great, but something to get their sideline going a little bit.
All right, last time Firelands went 49 yards, put it in the end zone with a nice sustained drive. Here they're out with trips right to start off with. Hanspaw did do a nice job of throwing the ball on the last drive. Now he brings Kovac in motion as he hands off the middle, and a big hole there. It's cut down nicely once it got to the secondary, but nice pickup for Firelands on first down. Gets the ball out to the 33-yard line. So 2nd and 2. Snap comes on, Hanspaw, hands off, goes over right side. Not a lot, but enough to keep the drive alive by moving the chains. Scott gets it out to the 36. That's going to be a gain of 3.
Yeah, Firelands, very similar to what we saw last week with Black River. they have a number of backs that can come at you, and different types of backs, guys with some power, guys with speed, and they kind of keep everybody fresh.
I remember asking Coach O'Rourke, if part of that in the beginning of the season, sometimes you're just trying to see who gets some momentum going, but no, it's part of their approach of they want to have as many guys touching the ball and keep that defense guessing as who's getting it. This time, Onspaw under center, is hands off to Williams, coming in motion around the right side, trying to make the corner, and gets out across the 40. Nice gain on first down. Going to mark it out about the 44-yard line. So that's going to be a gain of 8 for Williams on a first down carry around the end.
Yeah, interesting formation there, but there again you see Williams, the speed component that he brings on the edge with those jet sweeps.
2nd and 8. Keeping this drive moving. Keep that Keystone defense on the field as long as you can. It's like a double advantage when you get these long sustained drive. Quick handoff over to left side. And it's going to be another first down for Firelands to get into Keystone territory.
Second by number 27. Taking out the 49-yard line.
Just very methodical, moving the ball up the field. That's going to be a gain of 7.
Yeah,
on 2nd down, another first down for Firelands.
Another back coming at you there, Simmons with the quick hitter up the middle. And as you said, very methodical. Can be deflating for a defense. You're trying to get off the field.
Onspaw hands off up the middle. This time, I think is that Scott that has this one. Scott gets it over to the 44-yard line, so another 5 yards on first down, and exactly the way you draw it up if you're the coach, right? Just a nice sustained drive. We're down to just over 10 minutes to go in this half, and not only sustaining the drive, but the way Firelands approaches without a huddle, it forces the defense to you don't get that break on defense where you huddle up or just get a couple seconds to regroup. Firelands there's a mix-up in the backfield between Barry and Onspaw. He keeps it, and it's going to make something out of nothing here as he takes it to the sideline and gets some nice positive yardage before McKee can drag him out of bounds. Takes it down to the 40.
Yeah, busted play there, but great job by Onspaw doing what you're told to do, week 1 of practice. Try to get positive yards if you're the quarterback and something breaks down, just get upfield.
Brings up 3rd and short from the Keystone 40. 9:47 to go as the clock stopped with the play going out of bounds on that one. This is Williams coming towards us on the near side, split wide. Onspaw under center, but now he looks back at the coaching staff, see what they want from there. Varndell is split wide to the left. Onspaw back under center. Here we go. Quick handoff up the middle. Look at the first down out of that one, and still chugging and moving his feet and spinning backwards and moving backwards. A great run out to the 35-yard line.
First down, Falcons.
That's some really heads-up running. I mean, Simmons, we see him not only keeping his feet moving, but he got turned backwards and was able to still fall forward for about 2 or 3 more yards. Another first down for Firelands.
Yeah, been really impressed again with all these running backs. They all keep their legs turning, like you said, and they're fighting for extra yards, but they're also securing the football as well.
9:20 to go in the half. Onspaw going to throw. He's throwing on the right side. He's looking for his receiver, but he's got coverage from Keystone, and the ball is going to end up falling incomplete. So that's Varndell, who was on the right side this time, sprinting down the right side, and Vince Taylor had the coverage on him all the way down the sideline, and thought for a minute that Taylor might be coming down with that one. So maybe a good job by Varndell turning from offense to defense to make sure that ball hit the ground.
Yeah, great coverage on the play by Taylor. Stride for stride, he was in phase right down the sideline. It's not easy to do that, too, against a team that runs the football so well, to be ready, to stay ready.
9:12 to go, first half. Firelands holding on to a 7-0 lead, trying to see if they can add to it on this first drive of the second quarter for them. Onspaw is keeping it. I think it was called that way in the huddle, and he's got a huge hole right over the right guard and right tackle, going between Braden Rowley and Brandon Atkins for a huge gain. Gets himself all the way out to the 21-yard line. So gain of 14 on that one. Another first down for Firelands, keeping this drive alive as they're now under 9 minutes to go in the half.
Yeah, nice play design with the jet motion. And the keep for Onspaw off the.
Onspaw this time hands it to Barry. He cuts back a little bit to the left, and he's got a great head of steam going, so when finally got a defender on his back, he carried Grady Whitaker a few yards because he had all the momentum, and Whitaker was doing everything he could to make sure he didn't break that to the end zone. But he did get it inside the 10-yard line for another first down for Firelands, a 12-yard gain, and puts us into the I-90 Nissan red zone. And remind you, with each touchdown, I-90 Nissan's donating $5 to the United Way of Greater Lorain County. Onspaw, 1st and 10, 8:25 to go, first half, takes the snap, take it himself straight up the middle, has a little bit of room, gets it inside the 5. Gonna get a game of about 5 as they'll mark this one at the 4-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal. I saw a number this week on that I-90 Nissan contribution to the United Way, and we were counting all the touchdowns scored, not only here on the Lorain County Sports Network, but on WOBL and WDLW. I believe the number I saw was 128, and that's the number of touchdowns, so we're gonna multiply that out and go into the pocketbooks of our friends at I-90 Nissan to make that donation to the United Way of Greater Lorain County. 2nd and goal, just inside the 5. Firelands up 7-0. This time Onspaw hands off to Scott. Darts around the left side towards the goal line. Going to be a little short on this one. We're going to mark him down at the 1 and bring up 3rd and goal. A great drive, back-to-back great drives by Firelands. The last drive went a little over 3 minutes and 49 yards. This one started at their own 25. And they've already held the ball for over 4 minutes on this drive, and clock's still ticking.
Yeah, we talked in pregame about which team could impose their will on the other, and right now Firelands is definitely kind of winning that battle here.
Always an opportunity for someone on defense to make a play here. Is empty backfield, and the Onspaw is going to take it himself, barrel forward, and easily gets into the end zone for the 2nd touchdown of the game for Firelands, and makes it 13-0 Falcons. What a great way to mix up the ball carriers in there. We saw Simmons with carries. We saw Onspaw. We saw Scott get the ball. Barry's back there just keeping everyone guessing. And all of a sudden, you got a 2-touchdown lead here. 7:07 to go in the first half.
Yeah, great drive, like you said, mixing up the ball carriers and obviously the blocking up front, really just moving people down the field.
Bourne, the holder. Iafolo going to attempt his 2nd extra point of the game. Kick is up, and it's good. 14-0 is our score. Firelands now up on Keystone. Come back for more action here. 7:07 to go in the 2nd quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Pretty impressive 13-play, 75-yard touchdown drive by the Firelands Falcons, capped off by a 1-yard run by their quarterback Onspaw. Makes it 14-0 here with 7:07 to go. Firelands had that ball 4 minutes and 33 seconds, and they are eating up well over more than half of a quarter with their last 2 drives. Have been very impressive. So time for the Keystone offense. See if they can answer. Rocco Iafolo has already had a couple kickoffs and a couple extra points. Gets a little more work for his leg here. Beautiful night here in Henrietta Township for senior night. Line drive kick. This one is getting all the way to the end zone as his first one did, and that means Keystone will bring it out and start another drive deep in their own territory.
Yeah, and you mentioned this Keystone offense obviously has to get something going here. You don't want to be down 2 scores. They are. A lot of football left, but they got to get some positive, a positive drive. They got to get points, on this drive to help their defense out a little bit.
Well, we've certainly seen them struggle trying to get points, especially after Shackelford went down. They were shut out week 1, only 7 in week 2, 6 in week 3, shut out in week 4, a touchdown in week 5, shut out in week 6, and then all of a sudden 28 points last week. So you hope they get some momentum off of that, but that was against a Brookside team that, quite frankly, the defense doesn't stack up to what Firelands has been able to do this year. Here's a run off the right side and a nice little start. Spurt there ahead for Keystone.
Ball carrier. 6-yard gain.
That was Stuyvesant getting the first down carry. Gets out to the 26, so brings up 2nd and 4. And that's exactly what you need on these running teams. Is you certainly don't want to get behind the sticks, but if you're going to get to 3rd down situations, you want them to be 3rd and short. So good start for Keystone on this drive.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to try to win first down, either on offense or with defense. And right there, Keystone kind of gets that win with the 6-yard gain.
Horton calling the signals in his shotgun, takes the snap, hands off to the back behind him. Goes over the right side, that's McKee. And then wrapped up nicely by a Firelands defense. It's led by Josh Kovac is down there. Tristan Bourne is down there. We'll give him a gain out to the 28, so another 2 yards. Brings up 3rd and 2 for Keystone. And this has got, lots of football left. It's only a 2-score game, but as far as like certainly momentum is or anything like that, this is the first down that Keystone, I don't want to use the word needs to get, but they don't want to go 3 and out. It's one thing to not score on this drive. It's another thing to continue to lose the field position battle and get off the field so quickly when your defense has been working so hard. Let's see what they can do here. Handoff goes straight up the middle. Bullen forward, going to be very close. Going to depend on the spot. Firelands defense runs them back, but I see both line judges coming in from the side over the white stripe. And of course, when the touchback on the first kickoff was, all you got to do is hit that white stripe, and it's a first down, which it is. A 2-yard gain for Keystone gives them a first down, and they've only had, they went 3 and out on their first drive, and they've had 1 first down on each of the succeeding 3 drives. So let's see if they can build this one and sustain it. But that Firelands defense is certainly no slouch. They run to the ball.
Yeah, you said it, kind of danger zone for Keystone here. They got to keep going here, keep getting first downs.
Horton handoff again stacked up in the middle, gets maybe 2. That's McKee. Let's see, they're going to put that one down just past the 36, but not quite. I thought it was past the 31, but not quite to the 32. So we'll call it a gain of 1 on that one and bring up 2nd and 9. And Keystone doing the same thing, mixing up their running backs as well. We talked about Hurley and Stuyvesant a lot, but McKee's had his share of carries. And what we haven't seen much is Horton keeping it for himself. That's something that may be keeping in their bag of tricks there.
Yeah, another thing we haven't seen are explosive plays from Keystone. It's hard to move the length of the field without explosive plays.
Horton moves Hurley over to his right as he takes the shotgun snap. He's going to throw on this one and throws right. Really, Kevin Williams takes the interception, and he's taking it back to the house for Firelands. I think that's a marker on the turnover. So that one's going to count as Kevin Williams. There was some contact, though, before the pass was thrown. And we do have one of the referees back. Maybe that is I thought that was the beanbag they throw for a change of possession. There definitely was contact between the defensive back and the intended receiver before the ball was out to them. But then Williams made a very athletic play of going up and grabbing that one, but we're seeing everybody come back. So I think they're going to call either illegal contact or pass interference on Williams and negate not only his interception, but what looked like a pick 6 there for a minute. Because they're going to bring that one back. So ball was at the 31. They're going to mark this one as a 10-yard penalty, which will give it a I don't know what he's looking for. Slowed down at 10. I thought, okay, it's going to be a 10-yard penalty of some sort.
Yeah, definitely some contact in the back. I thought they were going to let it go. The call came out very late, but it may be the correct call. Big break in the game for Keystone.
Well, there clearly was contact before the ball was out there, whether you interpret that to be a penalty or not. And that's a pitch. That's a live ball, and it's still live as Hurley tried to pick it up. And this time, Firelands defense does have the ball and has it all the way down to the 20-yard line. And I believe who came up with that ball? Was that Bourne? I see Bourne out there. I see Logan Urban out there. As the pitch was awry right from the start, Hurley tried to pick it up, but there was contact after he took about his first step. And that's as far as he got before Firelands was able to jump on the ball and take it all the way back to the 20-yard line. So about a 12-yard return almost on that fumble recovery, and puts Firelands in an incredible position with 4:19 to go here in the first quarter, and they're already up 14-0.
Yeah, tough situation for Keystone there, back-to-back plays.
Firelands seeing if they can make it hurt. I thought they might come out throwing and try to get right at him, but they're running the ball at the middle, and Keystone's defense is ready to lock that one up. maybe a gain of 1. No, they're going to keep him back at the 20. Great job by Caden Johnson getting in there and stuffing up the middle. We'll give him a gain of 1, put it at the 21-yard line. So 3:55 to go, first half. Onspaw takes a snap, fakes it to Scott, rolling right. He's got a guy in the back of the end zone, and just off the hands of Varndell. But I'll tell you what, great defensive recovery there, because I think he got some fingers on that ball in the corner of the end zone was Tyler Ohl tracking it down, because Varndell definitely had a step for a while, and the throw was where it needed to be. But Ohl made just enough movement to create at least enough distraction. The ball falls to the ground. 3:41 to go. Now brings up 3rd and long.
Yeah, Firelands trying to go with their play action waggle play there. Great job by the Keystone defender. He was beat. He did what he was taught to do. He put his head down and he ran and he recovered.
Great job. Great defensive play. And they got a little movement out along the Keystone line, but nothing from the line judges as Onspaw looks to the sideline. Relook at the plays under center. This time he hands off to the first back through, and they're going to push forward because they're probably in 4-down territory. But Rocco Iafola, we saw him warming up. This is definitely within his range if they want to put 3 on the board, or at least attempt to put 3 on the board. That puts it at the 16-yard line, so a gain of 5 on that one brings up 3rd and 6.
Yeah, we'll see what Firelands comes to here. They've got the big offensive line, the number of backs. See if they try to go with a little hard count as well. See if they can get Keystone. If not,
yeah, 3 yards on that last one. I'm sorry if I misspoke it. Don't want to shortchange him, but also, want to keep it honest. 3 minutes to go, first half. Firelands up 14-0 here at Firelands on senior night. Keystone defense putting their hands on their hips, looking a little tired, and now we're going to get a timeout called. It's going to be Ryan O'Rourke for Firelands giving his first timeout of the game. We'll take a quick timeout and be back here with the score. Firelands 14 and knocking on the door as they're up on Keystone, shutting them out so far here in the first half on the Lorain County Sports Network. Got some great games going on our sister networks here on WDLW. Lorain is playing Shaw, and we have an incredible matchup that everyone here is interested in because it's the 2 top teams in the Lorain County League meeting up in Sheffield Township. Clearview and Columbia matched up there, with Columbia getting an early 7-0 lead. Here, Firelands with a 14-0 lead, and they've come out of that timeout deciding that Rocco Iafola is going to try, I guess we have to call this a 33-yard field goal attempt, which we've definitely seen him make this, but never a gimme for, especially at the high school level. Snap is good, hold is good by Bourne, and the kick is up, and it is wide left, unfortunately. So Keystone's going to get the ball back and take a sigh there because they didn't really want to get any further in a hole. It keeps it Firelands 14 and Keystone nothing. We invite you to stay tuned, by the way, as we go through the halftime. We'll have more scores for you, and we have stats from the first half, courtesy of my partner, Mike Rush. And I believe we're going to try to rate the dog again tonight, right? We get hot dogs here from Firelands. Nice crowd here tonight for senior night. Keystone travels well, and now they need to see if they can travel the field.
Yeah, kind of a win there for that Keystone defense. And as you said, they sigh of relief. And for Firelands, kind of a missed opportunity.
But I like the fact that they tried it there. Again, you got to lead, and it's something that, if you need that later in the year, you want to try it live. Here's a pass play, botted up in the air, and intercepted. It's Noah Angle taking it as a pick 6. What an incredibly athletic play by the senior. Unbelievable. Noah Angle comes in from his end position, pops the ball into the air on the pass attempt, catches it himself out of the air, and then carries the quarterback into the end zone for the score. And all of a sudden, it's 20-0 Firelands here in the second quarter with 2:44 to go.
Yeah, that's about as good a play a defensive lineman can make. A dream come true. You tip the ball yourself right up to you. You catch it. You carry the quarterback in. That's as good as it gets for a high school defensive lineman.
That was an incredible play. It's one thing to hit the ball up in the air. It's another thing to have the presence of mind to even know where the ball is when it's up in the air. You got your head down, headed for the quarterback. And then as a line, there's a reason guys are linemen, right? They're not wide receivers. So that's part 3. He catches the ball, but then he's able to keep his feet and keep it rolling into the end zone with a defender trying to bring him down, and he gets his score. Wow. Rocco Iafallo back out there. This would have, these are 20-yard field goals, and he's had no trouble popping these through. His 3rd attempt at a PAT today. Bourne the holder. Snap is out. Hold is down, and that kick is good. So all of a sudden, 6 seconds later, it's 2:44 to go, and it's Firelands 21 and Keystone nothing. And we'll be back with Keystone getting another chance to get on the board on the Lorain County Sports Network. 2:44 to go in the first half. Firelands now up 21-0. I'm John Guzik. Mike Rush has stats for us at halftime, but he's got some numbers we want to share with us now, too.
Yeah, a couple scores tonight. Olmsted Falls 21, Avon Lake 17. That's at the half.
Wow, that's a lot of points.
Rocky River 14-0 at Elyria Catholic, and Lorraine leads Shaw 14-0.
Yeah, Lorraine, I mean, if you know anything about the Lake Erie League, Lorraine's, really playing just for playoff position at this point. They should roll through that league. This league, a little bit more competitive. Clearview and Columbia at the top, playing tonight against each other. Firelands and Black River in that 3rd and 4th spot, and Firelands with a nice lead here early to keep that momentum going. This kick is returnable. Grabbed at about the 8-yard line, and with some momentum going forward across the 20, but quickly chopped down by that Firelands coverage team. That was McKee bringing it back. He gets a little spot there, and he's got so much momentum going, he'll go for a while. So nice job by the Firelands coverage team. But this will end up being the best starting position of the day at the 28 for the Keystone offense.
Yeah, and we talked about it in pregame, which team was going to avoid the big mistake. We talked about both offenses, and Keystone here, kind of a nightmarish last few minutes with some turnovers, which really has hurt them.
Yeah, a couple turnovers. That's exactly that last one. Though, I got to give a lot of credit to Angle for making that happen. That would be an incomplete pass with a lot of people, and Horton's going to be back throwing again here, and he's got to receive the right-hand side, but bobbled through the hands by Whitaker and falls to the turf. I'm going to bring up 2nd down with 2:34 to go before halftime. Keystone trying to make something happen. They came out trying to throw on the last series, coming out throwing on this first down. That's a hard task sometimes when you've got not only a backup quarterback who didn't practice all year as a quarterback, preseason I should say, but trying now to move the ball in short order with basically the 2-minute drill to try to get on the board before the half. 2nd and 10. Horton takes the snap. This time he is handing it off. They're running up the middle. Got a couple, but again, here's that middle, that Firelands defense just stacks it up and starts pushing everybody backwards. Kovac is in there getting up off the pile. We're even seeing Michael Lewis is in there from his linebacker spot. Keystone going to take a timeout here. Or is it Keystone or Firelands taking the timeout? It is Firelands.
Yeah.
Firelands going to try to make something else and see if they can shut them down off of this series and get another chance before halftime. Certainly up 21-0 with 2:27 to go here in the half, and we'll keep it right here as we continue to just. I mean, this Firelands team, it was a very entertaining game the first time we were here. They came up on the short end against Columbia, but another beautiful night here. We've been very, very lucky with 8 straight weeks. And next week, I want to remind you that the Firelands started, we talked about this, alluded to this earlier, Firelands season didn't start well, as they gave up 35 points opening week to Edison. And we're going to see Edison next week ourselves. They'll be on the Lorain County Sports Network as we go for our first time to Vermilion High School. And we'll have that's going to be a contest because Vermilion has certainly turned things around, but Edison has been plowing through a lot of teams. They've got one bad outing on their schedule that they've had so far this year. So we're looking forward to that, getting the Vermilion Sailors on the Lorain County Sports Network next week. And a tall task that they're going to have against Edison. Keystone's back out here, 3rd and 9. Horton calling the shots, takes the hand up, takes the shotgun snap and hands it off. Goes up the middle, and get some positive yards there for Caden Stuyvesant, but again, going to be well short of a first down, and so Firelands is going to take their third and final timeout of this first half. We'll take a quick timeout as well. We'll be back and see what happens with these final 2 minutes of the first half here at Firelands. 21-0 Falcons on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back here at Firelands High School, the Falcons are hosting Keystone. Keystone out there in the white jerseys and purple pants, ready to take on this fourth down play. And it looks like they're going for it. 2:18 to go in the first half. Down 3 scores early. This could be the game right here, as if you give Firelands the ball back too much in their territory. And they are. Firelands defense just swarms in there. And my goodness, pick who you want out of that one. We've got Scott coming off of the pile in there. I believe that was Noah Angle as well, getting in on the defense, and Michael Lewis. They got them all piled up. It's actually going to be a loss back to the 33-yard line. It's going to be a loss of 3. And so Firelands used those timeouts to create an opportunity. Keystone took the risk by going for it on fourth down deep in their own territory. And now Firelands has a chance to really put some hurt on this game on the Wildcats.
Yeah, big stop by this Firelands defense. As you said, they still got time, and they get the ball to start the second half as well. So trying to double up here.
Well, I like Don Griswold saying, hey, we're 2-5, let's go for it, but it didn't work out, and Colin Scott gets the first down carry for Firelands, and they don't have timeouts. They've got plenty of time on the clock from where they are. Gets the ball up to about the 27-yard line. So it's going to be a gain of 6 on the first down play. Again, great starting position. Of course, Firelands started one drive after the fumble on the Keystone 20. Then they had a pick 6, and now they start on the 33 and playing the ball all looking to our right here. And Onspaw has a wide open receiver at about the 12-yard line on the left side. Takes it down inside the 10. Just a great pitch and catch by both the route run as well as the toss by Onspaw, getting it out there.
Number 12 and number 8.
It's going to be first and goal for Firelands as that pass was completed out there to Logan Urban. Onspaw right away takes the snap, hands it off this time right, and Keystone's defense is there to create a loss on that one. Going to take it back a couple of yards. It was a 19-yard pass play to make it first and goal. It's going to be second and goal now as it push them back a couple of yards, back to the 10. 1:15 to go. Clock is running. Firelands is out of timeouts. Onspaw on the shotgun. Takes it himself, and he stumbles up past the defender and gets those couple yards back. Clock is under a minute now. He gets it back to about the 8 where we were. It's going to bring up third and goal. Kind of one of those ones you're not going to rush, but if you're going to go for it on fourth down, you need time to run that play, and especially if you're going to try to run your field goal team out there, because you won't be able to spike the ball. This is already third down. Onspaw in the shotgun, 35 seconds to go, first half. He's going to keep it and roll left. He's got a receiver in the back of the end zone, wide open. Nicely done to the back of the end zone. We're going to get a celebration flag on Firelands off of that one, but the score is going to count and makes it 27-0 with 28 seconds to go. Urban was the one catching the ball in the back half of that end zone. The way he flung the ball up in the air is going to make a penalty come out. Let's see how they're going to assess this, if it's going to be take it on the extra point or do you take it on the kickoff with 28 seconds to go. I almost want to mark it off now and at least take some risk of this extra point not making it. It's dead ball foul, so I saw him indicate, I think that's the indication they're going to take it on the kickoff. So Rocco Iafolo will have a PAT attempt, his 4th of this first half. At the regular spot, Tristan Bourne will put it down at about the 10-yard line. And then Keystone, which does have timeouts left, will have just a mere 28 seconds. But you add on that 15 to the kickoff and do something with that, a lot can happen in 28 seconds. Kick is up.
Kick is up.
And that one is
And
good
it
as
is
well.
good.
Makes the score Firelands 28, Keystone nothing. We'll be back with the final 28 seconds of this first half right after this quick timeout on the Lorain County Sports Network. Firelands just put together their third scoring, I got to say occurrence, because the one wasn't a drive. The one was on a pick six, but that drive went 33 yards in a minute 45 seconds. It was only 5 plays. That's all it took for Firelands to put it in the end zone. An on-spa to Urban 8-yard pass to the back of the end zone. It's one of those ones as a quarterback, that goes in as an 8-yarder, but man, between the time he rolled out and rolled back, and on-spot being in the back of the end zone, he threw that ball good 20-some yards.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me into my next point. The poise of on-spot, the arm strength, the different arm angles, the way he can kind of just flick his wrist and make any throw. He's a returning starter. He's a 2-time captain. He was a captain last year as a junior, so that kind of tells you what his teammates think about him. And, you know, I saw him last year. I coached against him last year, and he's much improved this year as a senior.
And we're saying, I was going to say much improved since we saw him a couple of weeks ago. We've seen him kind of evolve over the course of this year as well. He's very, very much more composed, and leadership tonight is more evident. Rocco Iafola has to tee it up at the 25, so only 28 seconds to work with for Keystone to try to make something happen here. But with that penalty, a kick from the 25 definitely be returnable. Kick's coming to our side. It's McKee at about the 20. He's heading back inside to the middle of the field and then looking for some space, and he's got some. And he gets across the midfield stripe, and finally it's Iafola who holds on for dear life as the last resort to bring McKee down. So something possible here. 21 seconds to go as we get the best starting position of the day for Keystone. They'll be at the Firelands 46. And just to remind you, if you weren't with us from the beginning, the Firelands gets the ball to start the second half. So there's a chance to really put some distance here unless Keystone can make something happen.
Yeah, that return kind of changes your perspective, too, of your approach on what to do with this drive. Trying to, definitely with the field position, you want to take advantage of it.
Boy, McKee had a whole head of steam going. He had a 30-yard return, and Iafola doesn't get past him. It's going to the house. This is Urban going right side. I'm sorry, that's Hurley going right side. Just getting a few, and with only 10 tickets left on the clock, kind of, you got timeouts, though, and they're not going to use them. Clock's going to run out here. Keystone does have timeouts to go still in this first half. They got all 3 of them.
And
they're not going to try it. Time runs out here in the first half, and that's where we're going to end up with Firelands beating Keystone 28-0 here. Again, invite you to stick around. We'll have scores from the other games, including that big Clearview-Columbia game. We'll get updates from our sister station on that one. We'll come back and recap this first half, as well as give you the stats that made up those 28-0 score. And, of course, the highlight of our halftime, we're going to rate the dog. And in between all that, we'll get a little peek at least some of what the bands are doing out on the field today, as we've got the Keystone Marching Band moving into position now. And Firelands, of course, will be out there after that. Glad to have you along. John Guzik along with Mike Rush. And knew we'd have a lot of running with it. And we knew the Firelands defense was going to be stout. But they're pitching a shutout here after a team that scored 28 last week. So we'll see if Keystone can find a way to get their offense back to where they were, or if Firelands can pull away as they go into the second half here. It's halftime in Henrietta Township. Firelands 28, Keystone nothing on the Lorain County Sports Network. has to be a first for high school football for me. We're getting the offspring at halftime. Just had a chance to see them recently over at Blossom. They put on a great show. So what a fun night. And it's senior night here at Firelands, and that's the Keystone band out there right now. But a lot of fun on this side of the stadium, that's for sure. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush. We're at Firelands High School where the Falcons are up 28-0 on Keystone. And coming into this game, we've got that Columbia Clearview game on WOBL tonight. We had Black River last week beating Oberlin, so technically Black River, record-wise, above Firelands, but Firelands has already beat Black River this year and handily. And so now we're coming into that time of the season where Oberlin and Wellington will be the final two games on the Firelands schedule. So let's start with that Oberlin situation because, Mike, we were pointing it out last week, is they were shorthanded on the Phoenix side to begin with, and then they had multiple injuries during that game, including one that, at least from our vantage point, looked like it was probably a season-ending type of injury with a leg injury.
Yeah, unfortunate situation. I believe they ended the game with 11 healthy players, if we're correct. So not surprised that they weren't able to play. Tough deal for Oberlin.
Yeah, the question then comes up. Oberlin did everything they could this week, I'm sure, to get a game on the field, and thankfully Wellington was able to find a way for the kids to play tonight. So that was great that came out. The question now remains is this a one-week thing for Oberlin? I mean, you're not going to magically have more players on the team next week. There might be one or two that got hurt this week during practice or illness or something like that could come back, but it's not like you got 6 guys that are ready to come off the injured list for next week. So if they aren't able to field teams these last 2 weeks, that would cost a game for each of these teams out here, an opportunity to strengthen their playoff position. And a no contest is not going to help you too much, as well as obviously Oberlin has yet to put up a win this year, so it's one of those ones where the win helps you certainly, but not on these secondary points. So if you take away that, hey, that's something that have a big impact as we go along, because we come into tonight with Firelands being in Division 4, Region 14, and they're 11th, and the 16 teams in each region are going to make the playoffs. I see the way that Firelands' schedule works out, and especially the way tonight's working out, but they obviously not only make the playoffs, but have a chance to host a playoff game. We always trust our friend Joe Itel, who breaks down everything. They were the one team in that area that didn't control their own destiny just yet. But after this week and the things they've been doing, and obviously their only losses in the conference being to Columbia and Clearview, and gave a Clearview team a tremendous game last week. That was one went down to the wire, 19-16. Today, they're fully in control. They're going to get the ball to start the second half. Game started a little slow as both teams failed to move the ball much on their first series. We had a couple 3-and-outs, and then a Keystone short drive gave it back to Firelands, and then it's been all Falcons since about the 5:30 mark of the first quarter. That's where Firelands took over, got their first drive of the game that went for a touchdown. That was a 49-yard drive, capped off by a Josh Kovach 4-yard touchdown run. And then going into the second quarter, they get the ball back on the first play of the second quarter off a Keystone punt, and that was their most impressive drive of the game. 75 yards in 13 plays. Took over 4.5 minutes to get down the field, and Onspall took it in the final yard to get 14-0. And then Noah Engel makes by far what has to be the electrifying play of the game without question, as on the first play after the missed field goal by Firelands, he knocks the pass up in the air, catches his own batted pass behind the line of scrimmage, and then takes it to the house for a pick six that made it 21-0. Just a tremendous play by Noah, and Firelands was not done scoring yet, as they got the ball back on the next series at the Keystone 33-yard line and made a quick drive of that in about 1:45 as Onspall connected with Urban in the back half of the left side of the end zone from 8 yards out. And that's our score now, as Rocco Iafola has converted all 4 extra point attempts to put us at 28-0 here at halftime. Firelands up over Keystone. We have some scores from around the area. I know we've got Falls up on Avon Lake, and they were driving to try to extend that score before an interception ended that drive late in the second quarter. So Olmsted Falls goes to halftime in that Southwestern Conference game with a 21-17 lead. And boy, we saw Avon Lake a couple weeks ago pitching shutouts and a tremendous defense. They've given up a whole lot of points these last 3 weeks since we've seen them. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in that game. And then we've got a great game over on our sister station. We have an update from Columbia and Clearview at this point. That game's at Clearview, right? Is that this evening?
Yeah, looks like 7-7 we're tied up, Clearview and Columbia. So
great one going on OBOBL. On WDLW, Lorraine's playing Shaw in that one, and Lorraine was up early on that one. Now 35-0 over Shaw. Again, not a surprise that Lorraine's having their way with Shaw, but wasn't exactly sure how quickly they were going to get to a running clock. Of course, when we come back here, Firelands going to start the second half with the ball. If they're able to convert on that drive, we're going to have a running clock here as it's already 28-0 Firelands. We'll take another quick break as we've now transitioned from Keystone Band to Firelands out on the field. And we will have the halftime stats and get a chance to rate the dog when we come back here on the Lorain County Sports Network. The mighty Falcon marching band out there right now. And Mike, maybe you'll help me out because the Falcons have some very distinguished, nice uniforms. We've got a mixture of ones who aren't in uniform. I'm thinking maybe alumni. I know we've got a couple of football players out there in the middle of the field. There's alumni maybe in the jeans. I'm not sure. We got a little mixture of everything. A little extra help for the Falcons band here at halftime, and it's a good time to be a Falcon tonight. As during the week, their soccer teams are doing extremely well in the Lorain County League, and I saw that it looks like their volleyball team's on pace to be second in the conference. And here, Firelands looking to not only improve their standing in the Lorain County League and move into third place if they can in the conference, but obviously that all-important Division 4, Region 14 playoff ranking is what we want to keep an eye on. So as we continue winding through the halftime, we turn things over to my partner Mike Rush, who's got some numbers to share with us from the first half here on the I-90 Nissan halftime show.
Yeah, some individual stats from the first half. We'll start with Keystone. Offensively, obviously it was tough going for them. Quarterback Paul Horton, he's 1 for 5 for 11 yards. He does have the interception that was returned for a touchdown. Running the ball, we've seen 3 guys. Lucas Hurley, 13 carries for 35 yards. Stuyvesant, 4 carries for 15 yards. And we did see McKee as well, 3 carries for 7 yards. So it's been tough to find room on the ground against this stout Firelands defense. Stuyvesant did have the 1 catch in the pass game for 11 yards. For the Firelands Falcons, been very impressed with Jimmy Onspaw, the senior quarterback. He's 5 for 7 for 72 yards and a touchdown. We've seen him. We've seen his arm strength. We've seen him, roll to his left and make throws. Very impressed with him. Running the ball for Firelands, we talked about their stable of running backs. 6 different guys carried the ball.
That makes it tough on the stats guy.
Absolutely. I think we got them all, though. But, yeah, Scott, 9 for 25. Onspaw, 5 for 26. Simmons, 4 for 25. Williams, 2 for 7. Kovac, 1 for 4 and a touchdown. Barry, 3 carries for 18 yards. And then receiving, Williams has 1 catch for 30 yards, which set up the first score. Farndell, 1 catch for 9 yards. Scott, 1 for 6. And Urban, 2 for 27 receiving for Falcons tonight.
So I'm adding very quickly upside down, but I think I ended up with 105 yards rushing for Firelands in the first half to go along with their 72 yards passing. And they're averaging almost 4 yards a carry. So doing everything they needed to do, and that's showing up on the scoreboard as being 28-0 in that first half. Penalties were even: 2 on Firelands, 2 on Keystone. Both teams penalized for a total of 20 yards. Firelands with 9 first downs in that first half, and Keystone was just getting a handful of them there. They were 3 and out on their first drive, got single first downs on their next 2 drives in the first half, and then a couple first downs on one drive in the second half. So literally just the handful of first downs for Keystone. And one thing we talked about earlier was the 2 turnovers by the Wildcats, and it was something that, Mike, you alluded to in the pregame show, and the keys of the game is you can't make mistakes. And I don't know, right now you'd be hard-pressed to find Firelands mistakes out there. I had the 1 penalty early on the punt that could have hurt them, but the defense responded and shut them down. And on the other side of the ball, they have taken huge advantage of the mistakes that Keystone has made by scooping up a fumbled pitch out that put them in great position. They ended up missing the field goal on that one, but we played pretty much so Firelands got the ball at their own 25 to start the second quarter with 11:40 to go. And once that drive was over, we got halfway through that drive, we played the entire rest of the quarter until those final 28 seconds on the Keystone side of the field. And that not only wears you down on the scoreboard, but emotionally, physically, that Keystone defense. And this is a weird thing to say with high school. So many guys go both ways. So it's the same guys on the field, but it's a different approach. It's a different energy when you're on the defensive side than when you're on the offensive side. And Keystone's going to come back and be on defense to start the second half as well, as Firelands won the coin toss before the game and deferred. So they get a chance to add to this 28-0 lead as we're winding down towards the end of halftime here at Firelands. A beautiful Week 8 of high school football on the Lorain County Sports Network. And we will be back to wrap up halftime and rate the dog right after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Couple minutes to go here at halftime at Firelands as the mighty Falcon band works their way off the field, and we'll be expecting the teams back on the field in the next minute or two. John Guzik along with Mike Rush, where Firelands has a 28-0 lead over Keystone. And I think this all started with owner Gary Tollett. Harry and Renee are the owners of WOBL and WDLW, which are the owners of this Lorain County Sports Network. And appreciate everything they've done to create this and get us out here for the first season on YouTube, and appreciate you all watching and listening in on a Friday night here with us. But it's Brian. Nothing happens without our sponsors, so we got to recognize our friend Brian Victor of Howard Hanna, because Brian says enjoy the game. And what better way to enjoy the game than have a hot dog or some other favorite from the concession stand? So I know Gary Tollett never short of grabbing a hot dog out of the game. So we're ready here. So I'll tell you, like any food, but Andrew Bauman is on our video crew tonight, and he's bringing you the pictures out there. So his score comes in at a 2.5. Edwin Vereen is our we need a title, because I have to give you a producer, on-site engineer, technical director, all these different things that Edwin's got going on to get everything out here very early to get it set up and get us broadcasting out here. and he's giving it a 3.6, so jump up into there. But then we come into the booth, and Mike and I both had the same score. What'd you like about it, Mike?
I liked it, like you said, I'm not going to complain. Free food here, I'm going to give it a 4. Very impressed with the Firelands hot dog.
I was not only impressed with the hot dog, but I left my drink in the car, and so I was able to grab a Gatorade out of the refrigerator up here, too. So the Firelands people definitely taking good care of us. I'm giving that a 4 as well on our Rate the Dog. And so our Firelands, we didn't rate the dog the first time we were here. Did we rate the dog here? I can't remember if we did this one here or not. But we're going to give that 14.1 total points for rating the dog here at Firelands, which is going to put them right up in the top tier of what we've been doing. We got a couple more dogs to rate this year. Next week, we're going to be at Vermilion. So we'll give a heads up to the people just a little bit north of us that we're going to be testing out their concession stand. And then we're going to wrap up the season. We're really flipping the county here. We're going to wrap up. We're going to go next week to Vermilion, and we're going to flip the county and be out at North Ridgeville for Week 10. And that's really shaping up to be a massive game for that, especially after Midview upset the Rangers last week. And that's going to put everything on the line for the Rangers to solidify where their playoff position is going to be as they look to go into Week 11 with the great season they've had. And we had a great game with them over at Illyria earlier this year. And Illyria has got a great opportunity to pick up a win tonight, as they have definitely gained momentum over the last couple weeks in the Lorain County League. We'll check out some more scores for you and get you to the second half action here at Firelands. We've got a couple minutes to go before Keystone will kick it off to the Falcons to start this second half on the Lorain County Sports Network. Here on the YouTube channel for the Lorain County Sports Network, where we're at Week 8 of high school football at Firelands High School, where the host Falcons have a huge 28-0 lead over Keystone. I'm John Guzik, and along with Mike Rush, who's going to give us some scores from around the county before we get ready to kick off half number 2 here.
Yeah, we talked about North Ridgeville. They're down right now at halftime to Berea Mid-Park, 25-0. North Ridgeville down. Of course, they lost last week to Midview. We talked about Amherst as well. They are tied with Illyria 20-20 at halftime, and Avon all over Midview 31-0 at half.
Amherst and Illyria 20-20 at halftime. Right. Okay. So what about we got Lorain County League scores that we want to check in on? As Black River is all over Brookside tonight, and Black River has that better record in the Lorain County League, but Firelands has the win over them. So Firelands going to have a tough time trying to sneak into the third place spot in the conference. And here with that 28-0, but over on WOBL, what a great game we've got going on over there. And Columbia definitely a second half team, as we've seen all year long. And Illyria Catholic has had their struggles this year. Lorain is just rolling along. And checking out that Vermilion team that we're going to have next week, we thought this might add. They're struggling a little bit against a very top-notch Huron team. But we're looking for Vermilion literally playing for everything next week. I mean, it's going to be, you're late in the season. You've got all this rejuvenation from the Vermilion team that has struggled for the last 3-4 years on the field. So we're looking forward to being up in Vermilion next week. It's always nice to be near the lake when it's this time of year, right? The lake's a little warmer than the air. It's going to be a little comfortable. It's a beautiful night here in Firelands. Keystone getting ready to kick off. And, of course, if you're Firelands, the coaches have told you, watch for the onside kick, watch for the onside kick. And in this little kind of scrum huddle they've got before they kick off, this is their first kickoff of the game. It keeps the team on alert. But now they're going back into kind of what I consider a standard formation. Of course, it doesn't mean they're kicking it away, down 28-0. Take a shot down the middle of the field, bounce around. Those are hard to pick up, but it is picked up at about the 18-yard line. That's Colin Scott on the right side, tries to make some room back left, and Keystone's coverage team is all over him to push him back to the 20-yard line. I think he's going to get some forward momentum past that. They'll put it down at the 22. is where Firelands will start this drive to start the second half.
Yeah, we'll see this Firelands offense again. 6 different guys carried the ball for them in the first half. They're probably going to be in no hurry here with the big lead, and again, just trying to kind of impose their will on this Keystone team.
Well, now they really do have. Onspaugh's had such a nice half, like you said, 5 out of 7, so he was very effective. And so they can mix it up a little bit, but obviously with a big lead like this, you don't want to make any mistakes out there. So they'll come out running on first down, cutting back to the left side and getting it across the 25. Nice little start out there. And for Firelands, they're giving it to Ryan Brewer. That's his first carry of the game, right?
Yes, it is. So that's the 7th guy now to carry the football.
And it's senior night, so it's appropriate. Give it to a senior that hasn't had a lot of carries out there and let him get going. We're going here in the third quarter, 11:27 to go, and a little action from the Keystone front. Let's see if there's any movement. Nope. Offsides on Keystone, so tag on another 5 yards. First penalty of the second half, obviously. Third penalty of the game on Keystone. Puts it out to the 30-yard line with that penalty, and it brings up 2nd and 2. Onspaw brings Williams in motion. Sometimes they hand off on that, but this time he's going to keep it himself and look to throw left, and he's got a receiver sprinting out to the left side, but with the pressure coming from the Keystone front line, that ball's going to fall incomplete. And that one was intended for Brewer as well. So all of a sudden we haven't called Brewer's name in the first half, and he's your featured back here starting the second half, right? But brings up 3rd and 2 for Firelands.
Yeah, it's a nice luxury that Coach Rourke has too, that you can mix and match and put different people out there and have confidence in them and give confidence to them.
Clock stop now on the incomplete pass. Keystone needs all the time they can get to try to get back in this one as Firelands up 28-0. I love it. Everybody checks their wrist as they get back in line here for this one. Now they know what the play is. Onspaw in the shotgun again. Hands off, right side. I believe that's Barry on this one. He's spun and spun and spun and keeps his feet. Firelands running backs do a great job of keeping their feet. But Keystone had them all wrapped up. Spins them out to the right side. No gain, and it looks like it's going to be 3 and out on this first series of the second half. Exactly what the Keystone defense needed.
Yeah, great stop by the Keystone defense, a 3 and out. Get the football back and see if they can generate some offense here.
Colin Scott, the punter for Firelands, gets the snap, kicks away. Fair catch called at about the 37-yard line.
They're caught at the 38-yard line where Keystone take over 1st and 10. Ball was stopped by number 13.
That's Tyler Ole that made the fair catch. And so that's going to make it a kick of about 33 yards with no returns. That's a pretty effective punt.
In the first half, we talked about Edison and we talked about non-conference schedules, and Firelands obviously opened up with them, and in week 3 they played Poland Seminary, great opponent for them, and as well as Vermilion in week 2. So they really kind of tested themselves this year in non-conference play, and I think you're seeing it help them a little bit.
There's some comment in there about people trained to be Polish priests, but I'm sure that's inappropriate for what Poland Seminary really is. Keystone, first play of their second half. It's a pass play. They've got an open receiver out on the right side. Pass is complete, but not much extra yardage, at least north and south, after the catch on that one, as went mostly east and west. That's Grady Whitaker making the catch and getting it over the 40-yard line to the 41. So again, a 4. Positive start to Keystone's. All you can do is build it one play at a time. We're coming up on the 10-minute mark of the third quarter. I need a laugh track there for the Poland Seminary thing because I didn't get anything out of you guys. 2nd and 6. Keystone with the ball. First drive of the second half. Horton in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Going to throw again. Nice protection. All kinds of time. Now the protection's starting to break down. Chased out to the left side. Still looking. Throws it. And I believe it hit the ground. But no, it's caught. Intercepted. On a great play. Very athletic play on a Firelands defense by Michael Lewis. And we've called his name a number of times today. I thought the ball was going to be a little short and it was going to hit the ground, with the referee obviously right in front of it in a much better angle than us. So INT on the second play. talked about what Keystone needed to start this half, and making their third turnover of the game and giving it to Firelands in the Keystone territory is not on the list. 9:34 to go, third quarter. Firelands seeing if they can take advantage. Offense back on the field with Onspaw in the shotgun formation. Takes a snap, going to hand off straight up the middle, working that line, and gets a burst through, and then a push at the end. Turns what could have been maybe just about a 3-yard run into probably about 8.
Number 35.
Great team effort there by everybody. Just
8-yard
nice
pickup.
job.
Second and
Very
2.
well executed play. Picking up 8 for Firelands on first down. Onspaw takes a snap, hands off again up the middle this time. Gets wrestled down to the ground by Caden Stuyvesant. Pretty much no gain on that one, so going to bring up 3rd and 2 at the Firelands 32. 8:50 with the clock running. Firelands up 28-0 and with the ball.
Yeah, and if you're Keystone here, you certainly don't want that running clock. I mean, you want to try to fight and scrap and get a stop here.
Yeah, and you might need 2 stops because this is probably 4-down territory. And you're going to run it straight up the middle with Williams, and he's stacked up. I think he's short of the first down by probably a good yard. Only going to get 1 on that one.
Kovacs, the ball carrier.
What it does, of course, is keeps the clock running. 8:20 already is what's left in the third quarter. So it's
4th and inches.
one of those time and distance. The distance you are from the scoreboard at 28-0, as well as the time will run out eventually if you don't start putting some points up there if you're a Wildcat. They did put up 28 last week, which was obviously a big outburst for them this year. But other than that, they've struggled to either score 1 time in a game or none. And so far today, Keystone offense hasn't been able to put it in the end zone yet. 4th down, Firelands keeping the offense on the field. Took another 30 seconds off the clock. Onspaw wouldn't be surprised if he took it himself, but he hands it off and spinning over the line of scrimmage and past the first down marker and all the way down into the 24, 23-yard line.
Eli Simmons,
Another great run, and now you're back to Simmons being the ball carrier.
First down, Falcons.
Yeah, great push by that offensive line by Firelands. 4th and 1, not even a question. What you're doing, you're keeping it on the ground.
Gain of 8 on that one, down to 7:26. Clock's moving here. It's not a running clock yet here in this game. It will be if Firelands can capitalize on this drive. But they're keeping the clock moving by moving the chains and keeping the ball between the sidelines. Here's a handoff. Nope, that's not Williams.
Joshua Kovacs, the ball carrier.
That's Kovac taking a carry over to the left side.
Caden Johnson.
Got a couple yards. Let me mark it at 21.
2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8.
Brings up 2nd and 8. We're under 7 minutes to go. If anything, at the times this year, Firelands offense has struggled to make consistent drives, and they've just done a little bit of everything today. They've thrown the ball well. They've run the ball when they needed to. Taken advantage of defensive opportunities that their defense has presented to them. And on 2nd and 8, Onspaw's going to throw for the first time this half. Looking left, he's got a guy wide open. It's incomplete though, as he had a spot right there on the left side and was looking at Michael Lewis. But I think it was a little bit behind him as Lewis had to kind of turn back for it. Wasn't able to get righted around quick enough, so it's going to bring up 3rd and 8.
And Coach O'Rourke talked about that in his coach's corner, that consistency, finding the rhythm, finding that confidence, and you've seen it here tonight. As you said, no mistakes. They've been balanced, and they've finished drives with touchdowns.
So clock stopped here with the incomplete pass at 6:33. 3rd and 8. Onspaw going to hand it off and taking it up the middle. I think that's Barry. You got the call on that one. Gets a couple of yards, gets it out to the 20. Going to bring up a 4th and long. And again, kind of decision making, not critical decision making, because trying a field goal here is one of those things that possibly could set you up for future. But they missed a 33-yarder earlier in the game, and this one would be even longer. So Firelands keeping the offense on the field. They've got to get it past the 14-yard line. So 4th and a long 6. Onspaw's going to throw, rolling right, gets pressure right away. Had a couple of guys out there kind of running a 2-deep pattern, but he had to get rid of it, I think, a little bit quicker than he wanted to. And Varndell was out there, but the pass was not really catchable as Keystone's defense had pressure on him. And that's a good stop for the Keystone defense to at least put the offense back on the field, give them a chance to do something else.
Yeah, and speaking of Keystone, you know, Coach Griswold over there, he's been there, he's into the 7th year, and, you know, you talk about being a leader of young men and what they've had to overcome this year with losing Zach early with the injury, trying to reinvent yourself, throwing kids into different spots. A lot of good life lessons can come out of this season for Keystone, and certainly they're trying to move the football here right now.
Yeah, a lot of time to still have a lot of fun here tonight if you're the Keystone offense. Maybe open it up a little bit, see what's in the mixed bag of tricks maybe even out there. And here's a screen back. Look at it, like they're setting up a double pass, and now Horton is keeping it, and it's the first time he's kept it all game. And he just gets a shove for the tackle as he was getting through, so he ends up with a couple extra yards after contact as he was shoved down finally by Patrick Geist. But he gets a nice gain of 9 yards on first down. They had a receiver setting up not only as a screen on the right, but would have been a backward pass. So I thought they were setting up a double pass, but Horton really never even looked that way. So I think that was just to draw the defense in that direction. But I mentioned earlier, I thought he might take a chance of keeping it a few more times. Here he is, shotgun, handed off this time over the left side. That's going to be Hurley. He has a first down and gets out to the 36-yard line. So that's going to be a gain of 7.
First down, Keystone.
And give Keystone their first down of the second half.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Horton on that previous play was he was decisive. Nothing was open. He didn't try to force anything like we've seen tonight. He just put his head down and see what he could get, and he was able to find some green grass.
It's the 5th first down is all it is for Keystone this game. Well, what you need is some momentum to get going here. Going with trips to the right again. Another receiver. Nope, that's a receiver going off as a substitute last minute. So now Hurley goes in motion left, looking for the screen pass. He's got blockers out there, but he still doesn't bring in the pass first before he starts setting up the field. So that one's going to drop incomplete and bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, it's not the first time tonight we've seen a Keystone receiver kind of look up, try to run before he had the ball. And it's basically just a sweep play out there. They're getting their tail back on the move and trying to get it to him in space, but incomplete.
Yeah, it's a combination when you have a 2-5 team that hasn't put the ball in the end zone a lot. You're already a little anxious, but then you look up at the scoreboard tonight and see you're down by 28, and sometimes you try to do more than you can, and you got to catch that one first before you can get upfield. So 2nd and 10, 4:50 to go, 3rd quarter. Motion back, fake there, counter back in the middle, and Firelands defense didn't follow any of that extra motion at all. He's tied up right where they needed to be. And maybe a yard on the play. I'm going to mark it over at the 36-yard line again. So we'll have to call it 3rd and 10. Firelands defense stiffening up again. Every time they give a little, any type of remotely successful play on the Keystone offense, the Firelands defense makes sure that they do not let that become anything to become momentum for the other team. Firelands is so quick and so team-oriented on their pursuit. I just wonder where you try a little more misdirection, reverse type things, and try to get them moving in the wrong direction. We haven't seen that yet from the Keystone offense. 3rd and long. Horton takes the snap, looks left, still looking left. Now got the flush out, still looking left, and has a guy open, but it is caught, but way short of the first down and wrapped up almost immediately.
Horton's pass incomplete.
It is incomplete. Okay, I was trying to look for the official on the line. It would make a signal, and if he made it, I missed it.
Yeah, he talked about that speed from Firelands, and you saw it there. Ball's in the air. You see defenders moving towards the football, pursuing, and they're able to knock that ball out to set up a 4th down.
So after that nice first down run, they're going to go 3 and out again after that. And in punt formation, ball's away. Nice hang time. Fair catch called for and gotten at the 35-yard line with 3:46 to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's 28-0. Firelands over Keystone. We'll take a quick break and be back with the next Falcon drive right after this. Firelands and Keystone here tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network. We're keeping an eye on some other games throughout the county for you and have the updates. This time Onslaw's keeping it on 1st and 10. And he's still on his feet and almost breaks a tackle and finally flung to the ground by Wyatt McKee. Said, I got enough of this stuff. But Onslaw, really, I mean, all these Firelands running backs, the whole fundamental thing of keep your feet moving. And it's much easier said than done, especially like day in and day out. But what do you do now? Like 8 guys, different guys have carried, 7 or 8?
Yeah, seven guys have carried the football.
And that includes Onslaw?
Correct, yeah. And all of them,
and
as you
all
said.
of them.
Yeah, and they do it, and they have ball security, too. They don't jeopardize the football when they fight for extra yards.
3:05 to go in this third quarter. Clock's moving, so Firelands just not gonna. They're always gonna be at the line as they do. They don't really have a huddle up, but trying to take some time off the play clock. But Ryan O'Rourke says, you know what, we're gonna take a break here and take a timeout. So let's get an update on some of these other scores. Are we still Clearview and Columbia? Where are we at with that one?
Yeah, Columbia just took a 14-7 lead over Clearview. They took the opening possession of the second half and chewed off almost 10 minutes off the clock, and they punched it in. That's one great way to keep a potent offense like Clearview down is don't let them get the football. And 10-minute drive, that's a big score for Columbia. They're up 14-7.
Well, that says a lot too, because we're barely 9 minutes into this half, and they're already had a 10-minute drive in their second half. So that game's moving along even quicker than we are. As we're at 2:53 to go in the third quarter. Firelands up 28-0 over Keystone, and been well in control of this game since early in the second quarter, and just building and building on that. The other games we've got going on, we've got Lorain playing Shaw over on our sister station WDLW, and Lorain is having their way with Shaw. They're going to be a running clock the rest of that one. And Elyria Catholic still struggling. They're losing to Rocky River, your old haunts over there, Mike Rush. The Pirates up 21-7 on that one. Here's Firelands with a rush with Kovac going across the left tackle side and getting only about a yard to about the 42-yard line. Able to gain a 1. That'll make up third and a long 3, short 4, whatever you want to call it. And then we're looking also at that Vermilion score as Vermilion is up on Huron is up on Vermilion now 42-0. So we have Vermilion next week against Edison, trying to see what the Vermilion team can pull out of there. And a long-standing question of how Vermilion's colors are purple, right? The Vermilion Sailors. So anyway, that's another conversation. This is Colin Scott getting the first down for Firelands. He fights across the 45. He's going to keep the clock moving as soon as they get the change reset. The clock is stopped at 2:08 and running again now as it gets out to the 48 for a gain of 6.
Yeah, it's not every week that we get to see Sandusky Bay Conference football, and I'm excited to see that game next week. We did see Perkins earlier in the season, week 2, but some SBC football next week for us.
And maybe next year, though, I'll request from Don Vincent, our sports director. You know, Vermilion in August is still a little nicer, and Vermilion in October is really nice. But here's Firelands now working with another set of downs, and it's Colin Scott going on the right side, and this time he is wrestled down behind the line of scrimmage. Going to be a loss on that play as he gets brought down on the right side by Jordan Fulmer for Keystone, making a nice play on that one. Going to lose 3 and bring up 2nd and 13. 1:20 to go, third quarter. Things are moving quickly here.
Yeah, Firelands obviously in no hurry. You know, they're going to look to the sideline, get the play from Coach O'Rourke, and use as much of that play clock as possible.
Here's Onspaw taking the shotgun snap, looking for the screen to the left side. He's got his man open, and he's cut through the middle, and this one's going to go all the way to the house as he gets through with a great block from his teammate, and that is Logan Urban, the senior captain on senior night, taking the ball 55 yards on a screen pass that he cut back in, read his blocks perfectly, went straight up the field to make it 34-0 Firelands with 53 seconds to go in the third quarter. Wow, that was an exciting play.
Yeah, really nice play call too. We hadn't seen that yet tonight. The tunnel screen, kind of that middle screen, and Urban, you know, he's so good on defense, but he's a playmaker on offense as well.
Talking about playmakers, Rocco Iafola is putting up his stats tonight because extra point number
Marco
5
takes
for
it
him
up, and
tonight.
it is good.
It makes it 35-0, which
We
is
have
going to bring us
33
back to a running clock, and it's running right now.
Running clock now.
So we're going to keep it right
35-0.
here, but now the clock stops. And so they start the running clock, and it's still an untimed down. So I know there's still, after it's been in effect here for a couple of years, maybe there's a refresher course for the timers that need to be out there. But of course, in football, the time's kept on the field anyway, so we may have to make an adjustment on that. But when it's 35-0 Firelands over Keystone, I don't think anyone's going to be arguing about 3 or 4 seconds. And Urban finding the end zone there on that pass play the second time.
Yeah, he's up to 3 catches for 97 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Pretty impressive, the 3 catches, almost 100 yards.
That'll help your average.
2 of the 3 in the end zone. That's a pretty effective way to enjoy senior night for Firelands here. And they've got just the 2 games left, so they've had a weird schedule. They started the first 3 weeks of the year on the road. They end the next 2 weeks on the road, and that's why I'd have senior night tonight. But they played all well, one that they lost. The problem was one that they lost. The Vermilion game in week 2 was supposed to be a home game, and they lost that as a home game, moved it up to Vermilion because of the power outage. And it turned out that Vermilion had the power outage that night because Firelands ran all over them in that game. Here it's 35-0. Clock is moving again on the referee's whistle. So we're already at 22 seconds left in the 3rd quarter as Iafola just knocks it down the field. Want to keep the clock moving. And boy, going to be a good starting position for Keystone. But what a great coverage tackle out there for the Falcons by Carter Lehman. He just wrapped him up. Again, textbook. That Ryan O'Rourke guy down there, finally he had some success when he was at Avon High School as a quarterback, and he's clearly teaching some nice fundamentals here, and that's been the key to this Firelands game. It's been up front, but obviously they've controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We've talked numerous times about their running backs keeping their feet moving. Nice textbook tackle on kickoff coverage as time will run out here in the 3rd quarter, but Firelands will have the ball to start the 4th quarter and see if they can change that 0 up there, because right now it's Firelands 35, Keystone nothing. We'll be back with the final 12 minutes. They'll go quickly with the running clock. So stick around and enjoy it with us here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Dancing to Cotton Eye Joe here at Firelands High School during that timeout. 4th quarter starting right now. Clock's already moving with a 35-0 lead, and Horton is keeping it himself this time. He's got some room around the left side, gets out across the midfield, and then pushed out of bounds close to the 1st down.
Yeah, it was actually Stuyvesant on a direct
right,
snap.
thank you for picking that up. And he does get the 1st down. I'm going to mark him up to the 48 of Firelands. So it's going to be a gain of 13. And let's see, we'll pick up all the numbers to make sure who's doing what here on the Keystone offense, as they are going to try to pull out some different stops here. Shotgun snap, this time it's Hurley going around the right side. He's trying to make a corner, but great pursuit. Now the ball's loose on the ground, and Firelands, after it's still loose, and finally, Firelands defender jumps on it. Aiden Fortner is going to end up being the one who jumped on the ball. as we're going to get
Ball
the
recovered by
fourth
number
turnover
43,
of the game by
Aiden
Keystone.
Buckner.
And the ball's going to be placed down at the
First down,
45-yard line.
Falcons.
So we're going to lose 7 as the ball bounced around several times, as scurried to try to get out. It's like every time somebody went after it, it was multiple red jerseys, but just enough of a white jersey to keep the ball scooting along. With 11:04 to go in this game, Firelands offense gets the ball right back.
Yes, Firelands defense opportunistic tonight, forcing turnovers, and flip side of it is Keystone. We knew they couldn't do this, and you know, it's something that's plagued them tonight.
Well, when you're not have the ability to overcome mistakes, having 4 times where you give the other team the ball is literally insurmountable. And now we got to make sure we're picking up all the right numbers for Firelands, because I think we're going to be seeing some of the players who haven't had a chance to get out there as much. Clock running. They're going to wait till we have a back judge who keeps the play clock. If you're not used to this, he'll raise his hand when there's 5 seconds left, and that's when Firelands will put things in motion. And here's a quick pitch in front of the quarterback, coming around the right side of the line and getting about 2 yards. Is going to be Eli Simmons.
Tackle on number 27.
It says Simon on this one. Talk to Ty Spillman about getting that one straightened out.
Yard gain, 2nd and 8.
42 is where they're at, 2nd and 8. On this one, another drive starting in Keystone territory. This is the same position we were in the second quarter, where we're on the far south end of the press box here, which means it puts us on the Keystone side of the ball. And the whole second quarter basically was played right in front of us, or for Keystone's sake, even worse positioning, as they got backed up consistently there. Here's a handoff up the middle, again milking that play clock as much as it can, getting a couple more yards, maybe just 1, as they're going to mark this one at the 41. So a gain of 1 is going to bring up 3rd down, but with the running clock, they're keeping it running anyway by running the ball between the hash marks, but 9:18 to go, and the clock's going to run even on incomplete passes or possessions or plays that go out of bounds. So Firelands just milking the clock here with a 35-0 lead, and getting a chance to move to 4-4 on the year with 2 games left in the season. Hopefully for them, 2 games left in the season. And waiting for that hand to go up on the back judge. Now again, pitch in front, coming around the left side this time. And coming up just a little bit short of the first down. That's Santos Silva, another senior on senior night, and a chance to touch the ball, and another opportunity for our stats guy Mike Rush to add another column to his running.
It's all over the place.
The key would be is how many different running backs were there would be the most impressive stat. I mean, no one running back's going to have a tremendous amount of yardage.
I think we're up to 8.
We're at the 38-yard line now. 4th down and a long 3. 8:13 in this one. All but assured to be a victory for the Firelands Falcons. Handoff this time up the middle and swung down. Nice tackle there by Keystone. I'd love to see the heart by the white jerseys. Down 35-0. And Firelands team trying to run out the clock. And Jordan Fulmer came in there and said, no, we want the ball back. I'm tackling you here, and Keystone will get the ball back on downs at the 37-yard line with 8:01 to go now in the game.
Yeah, Keystone's still playing hard. See if they can.
That's a testament.
Drive.
That's a testament you saw about before with Don Griswold, the head coach of Keystone. He's been doing this for a long time, and they've had the ups and they've had the downs. If it's going to be a 2-6 record for this season after this one, we'll see. But here's more of a Wildcat formation, and keeping it over the left side is Caden Stuyvesant again. But what I loved about Don Griswold, if you were listening to our interviews with the coaches before the game, not once but twice, he told me, great question.
You gotta like that.
And I know he's just that nice of a guy, but I appreciated it. 2nd and 4. We're at the 42 now. Keystone trying to get that 0 off the board at least if they can, but here's that Firelands defense again, just stacked up at the line of scrimmage and then wrestled backwards for another no gain. And we've seen this how many times today when Keystone's offense has come up with something on the very next play. The Firelands defense either has a stop right at the line or even tackles for losses. And of course, we've had those 4 turnovers there.
Yeah, that was quite the stick by Firelands and their defense. McKee from Keystone getting up a little gingerly there.
Paying for that one, that's for sure. All right, 3rd and 5, 6:39. Clock continues moving. We're almost through this game. This is Stuyvesant keeping it again, and he's wrapped up before he gets to the line, and he does a great job of keeping his feet moving and makes something positive out of that. As he had
by Luke
Gibson all wrapped up on him as he's trying to get to the line of scrimmage. He's going to bring up 4th and 3, but nice run by Stuyvesant. Get something out of that. Now at the 44-yard line. Keystone, of course, in 4-down territory, and they're running a guy off. Late substitution. Oh, they're going back into punt formation. Excuse me. That's why they're running off a late substitution. So they're going to go ahead and punt it away. Down 35 and 4th and 3. Punt goes off the right side towards the sideline. It goes out of bounds right at the 30-yard line. So 26-yard punt with no return. And Firelands will get their chance to possibly even run the whole clock out. 5:52 to go in this game. Firelands 35, Keystone nothing. Again, Firelands going to move to 4 and 4 on the year, looking to improve their position in the Division 4, Region 14 playoff seeding before they're scheduled to play at Oberlin next week. But we know that Oberlin was not able to field a team this week. We have no insight onto whether or not they'll be able to field a team next week or not, but that's something that's certainly going to be on the AD's minds as they get ready for next week, because Keystone is scheduled to play Oberlin in week 10, and I'm sure they want to get all their games in as well. We've been very lucky to have this kind of weather, though. That's one thing. 8 weeks in a row, just like keep your fingers crossed every week, and it's just worked out beautifully. So what a great place to be here at Firelands High School on a Friday night. Get some more scores for you coming at it as well. Here's Firelands starting this drive with a runner around the right side. And again, what a testament to the Keystone defense with nothing but full speed pursuit on Barry trying to get out the right side. Even though down by 35 in the throes of the end part of a tough season, they are out there getting to the ball, making the plays they got to make. There'll be no gain on that one.
And we talked about Coach O'Rourke earlier in the game, and of course, he played at Avon for Coach Mike Elder. I think he was Coach Elder's first quarterback at Avon. And he goes to Baldwin Wallace. He's in a spread offense at Avon and Baldwin Wallace, and he gets to Firelands. And like a lot of good coaches do, they fit the scheme to their kids, and he's running a ground-oriented offense here.
And here they are on the ground again. Gets tripped up again. Nice job by the Keystone defense, staying on point, making plays. Gets a couple on that one. They'll mark that one set the 31-yard line, so we're going to call it 3rd and 9. 4:16 to go in this game. Keystone actually, our Firelands actually is huddling up here, which you haven't seen in a while. Just trying to run out the clock. Again, keep an eye on the back judge, who's already got 2 hands up, counting them off. Snap comes, going to keep her on this one, and gets a break to the outside and makes some room. But again, I'm just so impressed by Keystone's effort out there of making sure they're making plays. Vincent Taylor getting out there, even though I had a chance to make a big play out of that. They're shutting this down. Even though down by 35 here with 3.5 to go. It is a first down, though. Gets it out to the 41-yard line. Just barely enough of what they needed. And might be enough to run out the clock here. To do the math, a 3 times 40-second play clocks, and it gives me 3 minutes, and there's 3:10 to go. So they might need, I think, run it down on that 4th down play at the very worst case scenario. So we'll be wrapping up here soon, but stick with us. We'll have scores. We'll send you to the rest of the post-game show with Dave Rivera coming up on our sister radio stations, and to give you the stats that made up tonight's game, because it's been all Firelands. It was 7-0 at the end of the first quarter, and it was more of a battle to see get the offenses going. But second quarter came along, and it has been nothing but Falcons since very early in the second quarter. And Keystone has not been able to answer at any point in this game and added 4 offensive turnovers on top of that. And Firelands has taken advantage of them as much as they can. Build a 35-0 lead here with just over 2 minutes to go in the game. Snap comes running on the left side.
Sims ball carrier. Tackled by number 20, Stefanson.
It's Andrew Pollock there, who's a
3rd and 4.
freshman, and they're playing quarterback now. So they're getting some people some reps out there. We're going through the whole roster tonight. Minute 46 to go in this one. It's Firelands 35, Keystone nothing. Get you updates on that Columbia Clearview game whenever we can. Last we updated that, Columbia was up on Clearview 14-7. We'll remind you and welcome you when we're done here to listen to the end of that game, although they were pretty much ahead of us, but I know they don't have a running clock in a close game like that. I'm sure coaches will be using timeouts, so you can listen to the end of that one when we're done here on WOBL, AM and FM radio. You can listen through the website or through the Gold Country app, free on any platform that you have on your tablet or cell phone.
Yeah, so Clearview scored to make it 14-13 a few moments ago, and they missed the extra point. So that's where we stand.
Wow.
Columbia's up 14-13. Again, that was a few minutes ago. So
talk about special teams having so much to do with the close games like that. That one may come back to haunt the Clippers. Columbia clinging to that 1-point lead. Here in Firelands, they're punting away on 4th down, but there's only 40 seconds left in this one. They're going to let that one roll down. Good, great punt. Down inside the 10-yard line. It's almost a 50-yard punt with no return. That's a pretty impressive way to end the game. We're just talking about special teams. And as you go through the rest of the year, I mean, we're seeing 2 things here tonight. First of all, credit to Keystone like we talk about. Kids playing hard and full speed to the very end, even though this one's been pretty much decided since before halftime. But second of all, for Firelands, working on those little things that will make a difference. Get to week 11. You hope there's a week 12 or more coming up for the Firelands Falcons, because they're in great position to be able to extend their season with Oberlin Wellington left on their schedule here this year and coming into tonight's game, number 11 in their region. Keystone going to run the clock out here. Stuyvesant's getting some running room on the left side and trying to make something of it. Can he outrun Scott, who pulls him out of the sideline at the 41-yard line? Actually, that wasn't Scott. That was coming over there was Santos Silva making the play on that one with great pursuit. But 34-yard run for Keystone. Gets their biggest play of the game here as time is running out. And game is over here in Firelands with the final score in this Lorraine County League game. Firelands 35, Keystone nothing. Stick around. We'll wrap up this game with some highlights, some awards, and send you off to our post-game show in just a little bit. We'll be back. Final score again, Firelands 35, Keystone nothing on the Lorraine County Sports Network. Listening to the alma mater from the Firelands band as we have now entered the Achieve Credit Union postgame show here on the Lorraine County Sports Network. We're wrapping up a easy breezy senior night win by the Firelands Falcons, 35-0 is what they put up on the Keystone Wildcats. And just as we thought Keystone was starting to find some offense last week, Firelands pitches a shutout with just a tremendous defensive effort all game long here tonight. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush. We're going to wrap things up for you and make sure that you know that there's plenty of more football action to be heard on this Friday night here in Lorain County. We got some great games going on. Columbia and Clearview is a huge Lorain County League game. Avon Lake's tussling with Olmsted Falls. That game's ridiculously important for both of those teams in the Southwestern Conference. Illyria is struggling to try to get their first win of the year. There's a lot of good stuff going on, and we'll get to all that in just a little bit. We'll talk about this game, though, and recap it kind of quickly. The first half kind of struggled along offensively. 3 and outs for each team on their first series, and then when Firelands got the ball back, they had great field position as they took over on downs after Keystone tried to go for it at midfield. And they went 49 yards in 7 plays, capped off by a Josh Kovac 4-yard run. That put them up 7-0 when Rocco Iafola hit the extra point. And that was pretty much, for all intents and purposes, it was over. The first quarter ended that way, so obviously we still had a close game. But Firelands got the first possession of the second quarter off a punt from Keystone to start. And in 4.5 minutes, probably I'll tell you right now, that's our drive of the game, because with 11:40 to go in the second quarter and just holding on to a 7-0 lead, Firelands goes 75 yards in 13 plays, took off 4.5 minutes off the clock, and it was just a 1-yard run by Onspaw to make it 14-0. But the key plays in the middle of that drive included a 14 and 12-yard runs that got it down into the red zone, and then just a total team effort all the way through. And Onspaw just got a yard out on third down and took it straight in with his whole team ushering it in. That made it 14-0, and for that much intents and purposes, it was over at that point. Firelands added a touchdown a little bit later in that quarter when Noah Engel made absolutely our electric play of the game. I'll go back to our drive of the game is brought to you by Valley Chevrolet of Wellington. Keep on driving with Valley Chevrolet. That was that first drive of the second quarter by Firelands that put them up 14-0. But clearly our electrifying play of the game came on a series after Firelands had recovered a fumble and then ended up missing a 33-yard field goal. On the very first play after that missed field goal, Noah Engel came in from his right defensive end position and on a pass play knocked the ball up in the air, caught his own batted pass, and then rumbled into the end zone with Paul Horton hanging on to him, and was able to literally do it all. Pass defense, interception, return for a touchdown, yards after carry, yards after contact, and just a great, exciting play. Our electrifying play of the game is our Noah Engel, brought to you by Honeydews Handyman. If you got things to do, call the dudes. We got a couple other awards we want to give out today, but first let's go to some of the stats of today's game. Mike, you ready for that? You got numbers for us that wrap up today's game?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start with Keystone. Tough loss for them, obviously. Paul Horton, 2 for 9, passing for 14 yards. Receiving, Stuyvesant, 1 catch for 11 yards. Whitaker had a catch for 3 yards. Rushing the ball, Hurley, 16 carries for 43 yards. Stuyvesant, we saw at the end of the game, more in a kind of a Wildcat situation, 9 carries for 60 yards. McKee, 4 carries for 7 yards. Tough going offensively for Keystone here tonight. For Firelands, Jimmy Onspaw, the senior quarterback, very impressive tonight running this offense. 7 for 12, passing for 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Receiving, Logan Urban, number 21, was the big play guy for them. 3 catches for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then rushing the ball, a host of Falcons. 10 guys in the act tonight. Scott, 11 carries for 25 yards. We saw Onspaw keep it 6 times for 32 yards. Simmons, 5 for 32. And a host of other Falcons that got in on the act.
Isn't that a host? And
a
seemed
flock.
Seemed like all the seniors who ever touched the ball in practice were able to touch the ball tonight. It was his senior night last regular season home game. I wouldn't put it out of reach for Firelands to be able to host a postseason game. I mean, that's going to be something that the mathematicians will have to get to, especially if that Oberlin game doesn't get played next week. But we also want to recognize a collision of the game. We have that every day, every week, and collision of the game is brought to you by Ernie's Auto Body, where wrecked cars are made new. And Mike, you pointed out earlier, there was I think it was a fourth quarter play where Wyatt McKee had a little struggle in getting up, and it was really that That front line for the Firelands D right in the middle is anchored in there by Colin Adkins, and we don't call his name a lot during the game because he's at the bottom of the pile, so you don't see him, but there's no way you stop up the middle of the defense if you're not having a nose tackle who's in there. So Colin Adkins gets our collision of the game, brought to you by Ernie's Auto Body, and all those stats that Mike ran down for you, including those very impressive ones for some Firelands offense, brought to you by Alan Januzzi, CPA, where it's all about the numbers, and Alan Januzzi just has been literally a supporter of youth sports and high school sports throughout Lorain County since I think he came out of the womb. And he continues to do it day in and day out. We appreciate all our sponsors who make this first year of the Lorain County Sports Network possible, and appreciate having you watching us, listening to us along the way. Don't forget, we'll be at Vermilion next week and then at North Ridgeville for week 10 as we wrap up this first season, having some fun out there. So before we go tonight, by the way, I remind you, we are wrapping up a 35-0 Firelands victory over Keystone. We name a player of the game, brought to you by Zabel Apparel Company, where Zabel Apparel, they remind you to be game ready all year. And Mike Rush will have you do the honors of anointing this week's Zabel Apparel player of the game.
Yeah, player of the game, we're going to go with Logan Urban, number 21 for Firelands, the senior. He's 6 foot, 163-pound wide receiver and defensive back. We know he stars on defense. Tonight offensively, he had 3 catches for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, he had the big 50-yard screen pass that he took on kind of that tunnel screen. Took it the distance. We talk about the running game for Firelands, but Urban adds a different dimension of speed in the pass game as well, and he could be a huge X factor for Firelands moving forward. So Logan Urban.
Yeah, we talked about number 21 a lot tonight from the very beginning. One of the captains out there, a 6 foot, 163-pound senior, playing both sides of the ball, making great plays on. We called his name numerous times on the defensive side as well. So great game by him and well deserved of the Zabel Apparel player of the game. I mentioned a couple times tonight that we are an outreach and an extension of the WOBL, WDLW sports department. And those guys over there, Gary Renee Tollett, WOBL and WDLW, are again this year sponsoring the Golden Helmet Award. So each week, take a minute. Brought to you by Nick Abraham, Illyria Ford, where we recognize maybe some of the guys we saw out here tonight who might need to be in the conversation for this year's Golden Helmet. I mentioned Logan Urban. He's certainly a senior out there, had a great night tonight. And then you like this quarterback who returned, and we mentioned we saw him earlier. One interesting thing about seeing Firelands twice this year, we're really seeing some growth by Onspall at the quarterback position, and really came into his own tonight, especially when it counted 5 out of 7. It was his halftime stats and multiple touchdowns out there throwing for a team that's really been putting most of their points on the board through the ground this year. So a lot to look forward to for them. Of course, when we talk about the Golden Helmet Award in Lorain County, that Jacorian Caffey guy, that Marco Sirigliano guy. You know, Caffey is having their way tonight. Avon winning again easily. And we're going to invite you to go over to our sister state, our radio stations, WOBL. We're going to wrap up that Clearview Columbia game for you here, as that's live on that station. Lorain is whipping out Shaw, so that game might be over already because that went to a running clock even before this one. But both of those stations will have Dave Rivera on the air for the rest of the evening, not only wrapping up all the action from across Lorain County, but talking to the players and coaches who made those things happen tonight. So you won't find a more comprehensive and interesting look at what's happening in Lorain County football than on WOBL and WDLW. That's the scoreboard show that you'll be listening to with Dave, brought to you by Ross Environmental Services. I remind you, next week we'll be at Vermilion as they'll be hosting Edison, followed by a Week 10 game in North Ridgeville as they will take on Amherst. So we'll end in the Sandusky Bay Conference as we go out of the Lorain County League here, and then in Week 10 we'll be in the Southwestern Conference again. Happy to have all you along here tonight. Andrew Bauman on the video. Happy always to have him along. Edwin Vereen making everything happen from start to finish. And Mike Rush, thanks, partner.
Thanks for having me once again. Keep bringing me back.
Bringing the good weather. Hey, you know where to find us next week in Vermilion, and you'll find us right where you are right now. Just come back on the Lorain County Sports Network each week. It's Friday Night Football here, live streamed on our YouTube channel. Tonight, it was senior night for the Firelands Falcons, and they take an easy 35-0 win over the Keystone Wildcats. Most of all, thanks to Gary and Renee Tollett, owners of WOBL and WDLW, for making all this happen. And couldn't do it without all these wonderful sponsors you've seen on our screen all night. So please patronize them when you can. And appreciate you taking your time to watch and listen to us here tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network. Have a great night, everybody.